And now, he checked the mics before the show. August was eating free food. Dawson was smoking. And Lynch was at a Fish concert. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on a Church mandate. You get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Brandon Tatum is our guest for the first half. He's got a YouTube show and I think a syndicated radio show. I listen to you on the radio. The Officer Tatum Show. Good to see you, Brandon.
Well, thanks for having me, Adam. I appreciate you being on.
So you were a former football player in college,
Yes,
former police officer. Where'd you play your college ball?
Yeah, so I played football at the University of Arizona in Tucson. I played there for a couple years. I thought I was going to play in the NFL. It didn't work out. And I'm thankful now because it led me here. But, yeah, that's where I had my football career. I enjoyed it a lot.
What position did you play?
I played free safety.
Wow, that's a big free safety.
Well, I'm bigger now than I used to be, so.
Yeah, but even with a couple of extra lbs on you, you're still big. I mean, and free safeties run bigger than the other DBs do, I guess.
Yeah, I was considered a bigger safety. 6'2", I was about 220 in college, and so I was probably linebacker size. And I was a great athlete, and I could do both. You know, I could have played outside linebacker. I played corner, and also I played both safety positions.
And I always talk about sort of the discipline of football and how it's one more thing we're trying to eliminate from society in the name of safety. And everyone's always worried about injuries. And I said 15 or 20 years ago, because I played a lot of football, I always just go, look, a broken finger, dislocated knee or elbow, that heals, but being a pussy is a lifetime sentence. And that's what moms don't understand. Like, yes, your kid could get beat up on that football field, or he could be a fucking pussy, and that could go on for
Forever.
a lifetime.
Generations to come.
And that's what I feel like we're seeing now.
100%. You know, football does make you tough. You know, you have to learn how to handle adversity as well. You know, when you get injured, it's not just about the injury. It's how do you recover from an injury? How do you recover from disappointment? And learning how to work together as a team, learning how to work hard when you don't want to. You know, it's a lesson I teach my son. You know, I say, look, man, football is going to be hard for you. Because this last time he tried football and he got hit and he didn't want to play no more. And I said, you know what? If you get to the point where you want to be serious about football, you're going to get hit. It's going to hurt. You got to get over it. And I dreaded football when I was his age. I was a young guy doing the Oklahoma drill and getting smashed. But it teaches you the discipline to overcome that, to be tough, and to learn how to focus and pursue an accomplishment. And that's why I think sports is incredible for young people.
So when did the officer part come in?
Oh, so the officer part, listen, I first of all, I never thought about being a police officer, not a day in my life. You know, when I was growing up, we were taught to hate police officers, right? They were the racist white cops.
Where'd you grow up?
In Fort Worth, Texas. Mm-hmm. And so I never thought about that in one moment of my life. But after playing football, and I did not go to the NFL. I was in the NFL draft in 2010. I didn't get drafted, which was a great disappointment. But I also had a young son that was about to be born at that time. And I was mature enough to say, look, if football is not working out for me, I need to get a real job and bring in some money and have some benefits and things like that. And so I considered being a police officer. I applied for everything in the city of Tucson at the time. And just so happened the police department called me back.
And so you grew up in a black neighborhood, and the cops were sort of the enemy.
Right. That's what we were told.
And obviously, it's a huge problem in our society. And it's not, you know, the neighborhoods I can almost forgive, but it's the politicians that keep banging on the drum of if you're black, you have a target on your back, and cops are coming after you. And then, and if that's what you believed when you got pulled over, then why not fight the cop?
Right.
If you believe it's him or you,
right,
and that's what you truly believe because it's been beaten into you by irresponsible politicians and race hustlers and community leaders or whatever they're calling themselves this week, then obviously would create more of that and then become a self-fulfilling prophecy because then you go, now the black guy got shot. And it's like, well, yeah, because the black guy thought he had a target on his back, and so he tried to wrestle with the cop.
1,000%. You know, that's where it comes from mostly. It doesn't really come from parents that much in comparison to the media, in comparison to the city leaders. They build this facade that the cops are out to get you and they hate you. So, and I saw this as a cop. When you pull over a person that's black, most of the time, they will immediately be offended. They could be going 400 miles per hour in a 20 mile per hour zone, and they will, first thing that people have said to me, you put me over because I'm black.
Right.
It is, and then there goes the conflict. Just imagine if I was white, because being black, I was kind of like the black man whisperer, right? I mean, I talk to black people, I can calm them down and we can have a reasonable conversation after they get past the fact that I'm not a raging racist that's working for the white man.
See, I agitate black people. So we're very different.
You need to work together.
Yeah, good cop, bad cop.
Yeah. So, but, you know, imagine being a white police officer and you're just going about your day. You work hard. You leave your family at home, hoping that you make it home, putting your life on the line. And you pull somebody over for a legitimate infraction. And the first thing they accuse you of is being a racist, that you pulled them over for no reason, which insinuates that you have no character, you have no integrity, and you've gone through academy and done all this other stuff to just hurt and kill black people. And it's frustrating. And that's when the conflict happens, because the person in the car is now mad and saying whatever they're going to say because they've been brainwashed. And then now the cop is getting offended saying, you know, screw you.
Well, also, a lot of it is nonsensical, because if it's at night and the cop comes up behind you and you're going 70 miles an hour, he doesn't know what color you are when he's coming up behind you at night. So how does he, once he hits the rollers from 100 yards away because you just blew through, a stop sign, or you're going 25 miles an hour over the speed limit, he just hits the rollers, he's 100 yards back, and it's at night. How does he know what your gender is at that at that point,
Well, Adam, I'll add to this. Even in the daytime, you can't tell. If you go on a ride along in the daytime, try it. Because I had a young lady, she was, my kid used to go to some daycare, and she would drop her kid off. It's a black woman, and she was a BLM activist. And I used to show up in my uniform to drop my kid off. I had to go straight to work. Mm-hmm. And so a part of it was she was hitting on me, and then the other part that she kind of was curious about policing. I said, come do a ride along with me. She comes to do the ride along in the daytime. I was working day shift. We were riding down the road, and I said, what race is that person in the car? Not only is the tinted windows generically can avoid a cop seeing in the daytime, but the back of the car, the back seats, and you can't really tell.
Headrest.
And you are not looking at the race. You're trying to run the license plate. You're trying to see, okay, is this a stolen vehicle? I need to focus on the violation and try to get the plate down so I can get information coming back to me if this is a stolen car, if it's wanted in a homicide. Those are the things that's going on in your mind when you're pulling somebody over, not looking at if they're black or white. And to be honest about the whole thing, cops generally don't care, because white people can kill you just like black people, and male just like female. And it's not really, that's not what cops are thinking.
Yeah, it's an insane media-driven hysteria, and there's two parts to it. One part is elevate any encounter with a black person and run with it and jump to conclusions and get LeBron James to send out some tweets and go nuts on it. But then there's a part two, which is there's plenty of cops killing white people, and when that happens, right under the rug, do not discuss, do not bring it up. So it's kind of a two-part equation. What you have to do is you have to elevate any white on black encounter of the cop. And then if there is an encounter where a white guy gets shot, then you have to de-elevate that and bring that down. And then, but if you do both of them successfully, then you can get the public to believe something that's not actually happening.
Right.
And it could be translated into COVID. It could be translated into environmental movements. It's the same thing. It's hit a bunch of stuff, ignore a bunch of stuff, and then create something. So that when you talk to the average Democrat, or even the average American, and you go, like, how many unarmed black men are shot by cops every year? They go, I don't know, 20,000, 10,000, 15,000. And it's like, between 15 and 21 or something like that. Right. They have no idea. Now, why wouldn't they have an idea? Well, they don't have an idea because it's been so elevated by the media that they're inflated. The numbers are inflated. It's the same thing they did with COVID and kids and sick and shutting schools. That's what they do. Now, the question is I don't know why the public doesn't know what they're doing.
Right. Because they do a very good job at associating causes with your emotions and not with the facts. Because it makes you feel virtuous or it makes you feel angry or whatever emotional feeling they want to perpetuate to you when they bring up these incidents, right? When you talk about a black man getting murdered for no reason and they show a small clip of a small encounter, it gets to your emotions. But your emotions can prevent you from getting to the facts. The facts are that white people get shot twice as much by police than blacks. Twice as many white people get shot unarmed than black people who are shot unarmed. There was a situation, and I wrote it in my book, but, there was a situation where a young man was killed, that he was kneeled on, the cops mocked him, they laughed at him, and it was worse than what happened to George Floyd. It was a white guy. Nobody even know that the guy exists. I forget his name now, but nobody knows that he exists. But they elevate the situation with George Floyd. And so a person is getting deceived consistently. The public, and this is what I try to teach people, is to focus on the facts. If you look at something and it's too juicy, and I call it too juicy, meaning you see it and you're like, black man murdered for no reason and shot 45 times. You say, well, wait a minute, that sounds crazy. Let me go look at the facts and circumstances surrounding this and then make a judgment. And unfortunately, human beings rather have their emotions stroked or feelings adhered to than to actually know the truth.
And you also have to look at it logically. Like, I think there was a study that basically said blacks are less likely to get shot by cops, in that it is a career ender for you. If you're a white cop and you shoot a black man, I mean, forget about what you think of black people or what you think about criminals. It's a career ender for you, and possible jail time, and you could get shanked or shivved. I can't remember in prison, like Chauvin.
Yeah.
So you would be less likely to use force. Not because you care per se, but because you care about your own livelihood.
Right. I think that is a perception of it, too. One reason is and there's probably a lot of different things that go on in this. Statistically, black people are less likely, or with them being over-policed, what they say is over-policing, which means that crimes are concentrated in these inner city communities. Therefore, they have way more police presence than in some of the white communities. Yet, white people are still shot twice as much. When you put the numbers together and do the mathematical equation, then black people are actually getting shot at a less rate than white people when you talk about policing. But I would argue today it's 100% the case that white officers are avoiding conflict with black people.
Well, who wouldn't?
Right, because it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. You lose. If you happen in an election year to shoot a black man who's armed and you're white, you are screwed, and you will be screwed by this president. You'll be screwed by the president of the United States of America. Even when Barack Obama was in office, he just will come out and say that cops are acting stupidly and really disrespecting the truth of what cops are doing, and it will just destroy police's, their image and the person that's involved in this incident across the entire world before any facts ever come out. So I understand, and I couldn't be a cop today, especially if I was a white cop. I just could not run the risk. And I'm saying if I worked in the inner city community. If you work in other communities, you can kill a white person unjustly, and it probably won't make the news. But if you are in an inner city community, why? They don't pay you enough. They don't give you enough respect. And the DA is going to let these people out on the streets to go kill and steal again. So what is the point of you risking it all to actually enforce certain crimes?
We have a clip from one of the stars of Blackish, I think the TV show that came to my attention. It's a crazed clip.
Her name's Jennifer Lewis.
Jennifer Lewis, and I find this time we're living in sort of it's mind warping what people think. But this is her take on.
I saw this earlier.
This is her take on Trump, and then later she went on to explain that he was going to round up black people, which I enjoy. I don't know how it works. I don't know how practically it works to round up black people, put them where, and then I don't know what you get out of it, but this is her on a podcast.
As soon as he takes the oath,
He will have generals walk down the steps of the Capitol.
Okay.
He will take a hammer and break the glass where the Constitution is, and he will tear it up in our faces. And say, now, I'm the king of the fucking world.
Hold on, pause it for a second.
Of the world.
I've said it a million times. My favorite part of life is not the person who's crazy. It's the person who's next to him going, instead of, what? What are you, fucking nuts? Zerlina. Yes, we know her from MSNBC.
Oh, my God.
Sorry, go ahead.
Faces. And say, now, I'm the king of the fucking world.
Of the world.
The world.
You will bow down, bitches. He will punish everybody that didn't vote for him. Let me tell y'all how I know this shit. I know it because I know what mental illness looks like.
All right.
Clearly you do.
She found a mirror.
Yeah.
That mania is unstoppable. See, this motherfucker's Hitler.
Hitler.
He didn't come to play.
I wonder if Hitler golfed a lot. I never saw any footage of him golfing, so I don't know. Just that alone, you can't compare anyone to Trump, who doesn't golf a lot.
Yeah, between that meth and whatever Hitler was doing, I don't think Trump is doing that.
Okay, so now it's comical.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it's insane. And you go, oh, this bitch is crazy. But on the other hand, you go, well, her brain has been poisoned. I mean, every time she turns on MSNBC or CNN, she gets fed a steady diet of racist society and systemic racism and target on your back and people hate you because you're black. And I don't know. And there's always the talk. You know, you have to have the talk with your young black kids about cops and about getting shot and everything else. And if I grew up on a steady diet of this and I didn't hear any other opinions, then maybe my brain would be poisoned.
Well, if she was 13, I'd say maybe that makes sense. That's a grown woman. She grown. She been around for a long period of time. Donald Trump was the president at one point. It's not like we don't know what he would do as president. He didn't tear the Constitution when he was the president for the first 4 years he served. So, I mean, how stupid do you have to be to even believe half of that? I mean, just even if you believed it, or even if CNN told you, or whatever news network told you that, how do you walk that out in your mind as something that can actually happen? You think he can tear a like the Constitution is only valid if it's on a piece of paper. So somebody tear it, they could just eradicate the Constitution. That just makes no sense whatsoever. Rounding up people and saying, making people bow down to him. I mean, he got investigated for the first 3 years of his career. His attorney general was MIA. He had recused himself. I mean, everybody turned on him. Donald Trump did not have it easy in 4 years. Where is the dictatorship in the Hitler-esque mentality, or even the way to present that in the United States of America? It just doesn't exist. The lady is nuts.
Do you have the quote, by the way?
Yeah, so speaking of various minority groups, she also added, that motherfucker will have us in camps because we sat our fat asses on the couch.
Oh, you didn't vote.
Right.
And then because you didn't vote, then Trump got elected, and then he's going to make camps.
Yeah.
And so about, obviously, I feel like the black community is waking up to the extent that you can only lie for so long before something's got to come out the other side. Like, you can only talk so much about what you're going to do for a community, and nothing happens before that community starts to wake up and kind of go, maybe nothing's coming out the other end.
I think that's true. You would hope that more people would wake up sooner. I don't think the Democrats have ever done anything for black people, ever. And even the things that they're proposing is irrational. There's no way they're going to give reparations. If you gave every black person, 40 million black people in America, give or take, you give everybody $1,000. I mean, you're probably in like $1 trillion in debt in the country. Where are we going to get it from? Are you telling me that the ancestors of black people who have paid taxes all these years are going to pay reparations to black people, it's completely stupid to think that they can do it anyway, but the promise is a dead promise that they're never accomplishing. They say to black people, we're going to change the inner city and we're going to make the rich people pay their fair share. That's never going to happen. Rich people are never going to pay what they call fair share of taxes. Then they would have to change the tax laws, and then they wouldn't be able to take advantage of the same laws.
Yeah, well, see, I think the whole thing is fundamentally flawed. Like saying, hey, group who isn't doing well, I'm going to give you a bunch of free shit. That does not work. I mean, there's a story, and I'll butcher it a little, but there were folks, natives, I guess you would say, back in the day, and they lived on Bikini Island. And they're just an indigenous tribe group of people who lived on this island. And, they hunted and they fished and they did what you do. And they were kind of lean and mean because you had to be. And then the United States said, we want to test an atom bomb and we want to see what it does to an island. So they said, we're going to move you all off this island. We're going to pack it up. We're going to move it off. And we'll move you to another island. And then the people from Bikini Island went, well, I don't know. That's our island. What do we get out of this? And they said, oh, well, we'll set up some pool tables and give you some beer and we'll give you some guaranteed income. You won't have to work or anything. We're going to blow up your island. We'll move you over there. They all just got fat and got diabetes. They all became alcoholics because they didn't have to go hunt every day and fish every day and live every day. So just the notion of giving people free stuff in terms of helping them along. If I said, if you had a 25-year-old son who was struggling and he has a little bit of an addiction issue and alcohol and he's not really motivated and whatever, and I said, oh, I'm going to help him. I'll give him $500,000 as his dad. Everyone would go, that's the worst idea ever. He's going to do worse. Right. So that's the micro version of free shit. Everyone understands the nepotism and the babies of the rich guys all just sliding into addiction and, and beyond. If you do it for a whole group, you're going to hurt the group. Freebies are, it's really an irresponsible, dangerous game to play with groups. And the groups that do the best are the groups who don't consider themselves a group.
Right.
And never say to the politicians, what's in it for us? It's always the ones who just put their head down and go to work. Right. The problem with the black community is they look at themselves as a group, and then they anoint leaders who are interested in cashing checks but not really helping them. As a matter of fact, if they help them, then they're kind of out of a job if the group gets better. And then they just perpetually talk about what they're going to do for the group. And while they're talking about what they're going to do for the group in a positive way, they have to sprinkle in a lot of negativity about what the other group wants to do to that group if we put them in charge, and they're going to hurt that group. The reality is you're an individual, you can do whatever you want, make some hay while the sun is shining, and everyone get to work. That's the only message that should ever be given, but it's a constant group thing, and it's hurtful. I think pride is hurtful. I think we talk way too much about race and identity and groups. And by the way, the groups could be LGBT, whatever. It could be lesbian, it could be trans, it could, whatever. All the groups that get broken off, nothing ever happens, always promises to help them, nothing comes out the other end. And I feel like black men especially are starting, I mean, statistically, they're shifting. They're kind of waking up. And it's kind of happening.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. It's because not just I agree because I feel like it, like you said, you're referencing the polls and statistics are showing that black men are increasingly leaving the Democrat Party and waking up to what's going on, which is exciting to a certain degree. When you go back to the group thing, unfortunately in America, there's this group of black people, right? And they hate each other and they kill each other and they rob each other and they pull each other down. But yet they still claim to be a group. And
Right.
then they have people who are detached from the group that just happen to look like them representing the group. And those people want nothing to do with the group. They just leverage the group to make money. And they make as much money and they have as many grievances as they can. And they never care about what's happening with the group. Someone outside the group or within the group that rise out says, stop babying these people. Hold them accountable, tell the truth, educate them, and I would say inform them that you don't have to be a group anymore to make it in America. That person, which would be like a person like me, you get Sean, you're Uncle Tom, you're working for the white man, and all of the above. I can show them my lifestyle and say, look, I'm an example of what I'm trying to tell you. It is irrelevant. And it's unfortunate that that is perpetuated. The Democrats know that the ignorance is pervasive, and they just attack it because emotions are something that people connect with more so than facts and reality. I often wonder, are these news outlets hypnotizing people? I got to do more research on this because, there's a level of hypnotism, which means that, we think of the general hypnotism where you have the little pendulum swinging or whatever, the little thing, and then a person is hypnotized, you tell them go left, go right. I wonder, is there some of like a micro hypnotism or a smaller level of hypnotism, like a first phase hypnotism, which means that a person is kind of being hypnotized. They still are functional, but in their subconscious, it's just downloading this information. And if they keep going to these news outlets night after night, they're in this constant state of like a soft hypnotism. And that lady she actually believes that. Maybe, that's what I think.
She believes it, but if you said to her, are you a homeowner? And she said, yeah, I got a nice place in Sherman Oaks. I go, all right. If Trump is elected and he walks down the steps and takes a ball-peen hammer to the Constitution and then tears it in half and rounds up black people and puts them in a camp, I will give you an island in Bermuda. You can trade that house, but if he doesn't, I got to take your house. She wouldn't do it. No. So it's like when Cher and all the other blowhard celebrities go, if Donald Trump is elected, I'm moving to Canada because I don't want to live in the United States with this guy in charge, right? There's always 10 prominent blowhard celebrities who make that proclamation. And by the way, it's coming soon. We only have another few months before Cher and all the other idiots get on board and make this proclamation. Then what happens? Trump gets elected and they go right back to their state in Malibu. Right. And they never go to Canada. So do they believe it? I don't think she believes it.
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because there are people who struggle, and I think it should be diagnosed. Trump derangement syndrome.
Yes.
Some people really, and you can confront her and make the same scenario that you just said. She would probably say, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I agree to it. And then, of course, it never happens, and then she hides off in the night. I wonder, Adam, do people... because I think that we're right on the conservative side. I think that we're right. I think that we have evidence and facts to back up our genuineness. I think these people are nuts. They're crazy. They hate God. They hate America. They hate the Constitution.
Oh, they hate their dad.
Exactly.
That's the main thing.
Because they don't know him or he was a terrible
whatever.
one.
They hate their dad, and then everyone becomes a fill-in for their dad.
Right.
So God. Trump is just a caricature. He's like built in the lab as the dad all these people hate him. Right. That's all. Big, blowhard, hair, the whole thing. He's like literally, this is like a social experiment. If Trump looked like Dustin Hoffman, I don't think they'd be out of their mind. He's literally a cartoon character of the man.
Yeah.
He is the man. And they rage against the man. And he's the ultimate the man.
Yeah, that I can see that happening, but it's definitely something. It's not something where we're just projecting this. These people are nuts. They're insane. I think Joe Biden is completely mindless. He's not adequate to be the president. He's probably got a slight level of dementia going on. His policies are terrible. I don't think he's running anything in the country. But I wouldn't compare him to Hitler.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever say anything like that on the side of reasonableness. I mean, the guy can be stupid and he can destroy America through policy and the lack thereof enforcing border security and things like that. But I would never go so far to say he's going to destroy the Constitution and put us in internment camps and whatever the case may be. So do they really believe it? Are they being ultra superfluous? It's almost impossible to know.
Yeah, well, it's called a syndrome.
Yeah.
And it's called deranged.
Right.
And they got it. And first you have to be a narcissist. That's the part I figured out. You won't get it if you're not a narcissist. There are plenty of people just go, I'm not voting Trump. I disagree with this, whatever he has to say. But they're not insane.
Right.
You have to be a narcissist to be insane. That's how it works. Yeah, it's interesting. And it's also the thing that's interesting about these people with their proclamations is they can be wrong 1,000 times in a row, and it does not slow their roll for the 1,001st time they're going to go out and make another proclamation. And I got this through COVID. I got everybody up there on MSNBC and Sanjay Gupta and Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon. All these assholes were wrong all the way through, every step of the way. They got everything wrong, and then went out there, bold-faced, stared into the camera lens, and went for it again.
Yeah.
And never backpedaled, never did a thing where, you're sitting at a blackjack table and you get dealt you get 13 and 14 dealt to you like 5 times in a row, and the dealer's showing a face card. And at some point, you got to get up and go, don't look at me. When someone goes, I got 16, he's got a face card. Should I hit? I just go, don't, you're talking to the wrong guy, because all I got is everything wrong at this table.
Right.
They never did it. They plowed forward. They made proclamations that were 100% wrong over and over and over again, never apologized, never backpedaled, never stopped, and it did not slow them up at all.
No.
They went 3.5 years of Russian collusion, ended up being wrong, didn't slow the roll at all.
Because to them, the ends justify the means. So they feel that they can do anything, and they just keep moving the goalposts because they need the end result to be what they want it to be. Just like these idiots that I see wearing masks still to this day. I mean, a lady in the airport had 3 masks on. And I'm like, at this point, you are just insane. But what happens is she bashed all of her family, told people they couldn't come over the house, you can't see the grandkids, and they bludgeoned people all this time. And then now everybody knows that it's bullcrap, but they cannot let that go because they hold on to that memory of crapping on people all this time. And the same thing happens with Russia collusion. People remember how they gave the middle finger to their grandmother because they thought she was a right-wing extremist because she said there's no evidence of Russian collusion. And they instead of being humble and having the emotional intelligence to say, I probably should apologize, they can't. It would just ruin their whole reputation and their whole being to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And this happens. This is the Trump derangement syndrome development. There are people that I know that they messed up. Even your boy, I want to say your boy, you probably don't like him or not, The Rock. The Rock came out with his bald head and made a proclamation that he's going for Joe Biden because he's going to change America. And then the man now is saying, I'm not endorsing them. Do you like the way that America's going? I don't. I think it's going wrong. Just say I messed up.
Well, to be fair, and to show that The Rock really doesn't have any dignity, he's just licking his finger, figuring out which way the wind was blowing. And if you wanted to operate in Hollywood and you wanted to work in this town, and it was 4 years ago, and you said, I'm supporting Trump, you'd be destroyed. So you say, because The Rock is really a politician without being a politician. He's doing all the stuff a politician would do all the time. What side of this, okay, we went through COVID. There wasn't a human being in Hollywood beside me, and I'm barely in Hollywood, who said, pump the brakes. What are we shutting everything down? I don't have any evidence of this. We shouldn't be shutting down the beaches. We shouldn't be shutting down the schools. We got to reopen the schools. We got to reopen the playgrounds. We're hurting kids. Ivermectin, that's between you and your doctor. Hydroxychloroquine, that's between you and your doctor. I'm not an expert. I'm an actor. There's nobody in Hollywood that had one word to say that was that would be contrary to what the theme was. Did they all believe it? Fuck no, they didn't all believe it, or they wouldn't have gotten on airplanes, they wouldn't have traveled, they wouldn't have gone on boats, they wouldn't have gone out to dinner, they wouldn't have hung out with Gavin Newsom at SoFi Stadium and Magic Johnson. No, they didn't believe it. They're constantly, Hollywood people are like politicians who never stop running. They never stop. And they're smart because you got to take this career and you got to try to stretch it out over about 40, 50 years. And all you have to do is get on the wrong side of these people and you're out, baby. There's no second act for you. Your phone stops ringing, you stop going to the parties, and you stop getting cast and stuff. So The Rock is a politician who's constantly running and never stops running. Well, now what's The Rock doing? Well, he's going to the UFC fights. He's in on the UFC stuff. He's in on the wrestling. And he sees what the reaction is when Trump enters the arena with the UFC fans. So now, magically, The Rock, who has a ton of integrity, has had a little change of heart. Because now it's different. If he starts saying, I endorse Biden now, when he walks down at the UFC fight with 30,000 people in it next time, he's going to get booed. So what does he know? What does he care? Did he like Biden? First off, Biden is one of the least impressive people ever. And I include family members in that group. That's how bad it is. He's anything but impressive. Right? I mean, even before the dementia and whatever it is kicked in, flip-flopping on every single item ever. His son, his brother, I mean, the family, the kids, the shell corporations and all these companies. And, it's all, there's nothing impressive. There's nothing impressive. I mean, Obama said he was a fuck up, Other guys have said every single foreign policy he's ever made has been wrong, like he's not impressive. So why are you that? Why is The Rock? The Rock is an impressive guy. So why is he impressed with Biden even 4 years ago? He's not.
Right.
He's just doing whatever he thinks is expedient for him, and he never stops running for election.
Yeah.
Politicians take a little time off, or they do 2 terms and they're out, or whatever it is. The Rock's been running for election for 30 years, and he's got another 20 years to run for election. So
he's a lifer.
He's a lifer, so go ahead. He's going to come down on the popular side of everything, and now he knows which way the wind is blowing.
Could this be could this be an indication that the wind is actually blowing away from Biden and towards Donald Trump?
Yeah,
for him to make that declaration.
That's why The Rock is doing it.
Yeah, is he an indicator of a bigger thing?
Yeah, I was going to cover this in news. I mean, we have the clip of him saying that he regrets endorsing Biden.
Right, because it's safe to say it now.
Well, he said he's polarized. He said it's made him polarizing, and he don't want to be that.
Right, and he also said that he believes that the American people are going to make the right decision in this election, and whoever they vote for, that's going to be my president. That's
right. He's not going to go toward Trump, even though he probably favors Trump, because that could get him run out of Hollywood. So,
but you would think he's the most followed man in the world. I mean, he's probably one of the most popular people in the world. And you would think that somebody like that would drop his sack a little bit and say, I'm going to make a declaration of what I think the country should be. And who cares? I got FU money. I got FU status. Would really somebody cancel The Rock? I don't. That dude brings in so much money. I don't think people can afford to not have him to be a part of what they're doing.
I mean, see, I think the only part you're missing here is the money is, he has what was I like to call F me money, which is more than FU money. Elon Musk has F me money.
Right.
When you buy Twitter for $45 billion and it's worth $18 billion because you want to take control of it, that's called F me money. So that's what he does. But now, you're right, but you also, and everyone should understand this, you can't see everything through the lens of money, because all of the people we're talking about have enough money to get them through the rest of their lives. When we're talking about, you could be talking about Spielberg or Bill Gates or whatever. They want to be invited to the next party. Mm-hmm. They love being popular. They love being the toast of the town, and they love being invited to the next party. And if you come out and endorse Trump, the next party you're going to be invited to has Kevin Sorbo and Scott Baio at a punch bowl with sherbet in it. And it doesn't have all the cool kids. And so everybody is rich and nobody needs money. They like it, but they don't really need any more money. It's all about the party.
But you would think that, and I agree with you 1,000%. See, I've never been that popular, so that does make sense that he probably would think that way, and that they all are rich. I just wonder, like, you've made a great point in saying that he really don't care. This is about, where's the wind blowing, because he could, if he actually cared, if he actually endorsed Biden the first time, that he would just articulate that these are the things that I look for when I'm going to vote the next time. He don't have to say Trump. He could at least point out the end of wars or whatever the other stuff, taxes but you make the argument that I agree with, that I think he's disingenuous from the onset.
Yeah, well, it's also when you talk about what you want, you will get put into a camp. So that's what happened with COVID. So you go, listen, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I just got a 14-year-old healthy son, and I don't want him to get an experimental vaccination because he doesn't need it. And, I'm not an anti-masker, but I'm not wearing a mask alone walking on a horse trail. And they go, oh, we got a Trump vote. Don't we now? Right. And then you go, no. I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about science. I go, oh, okay. I got you. I hear you.
But I almost think he put himself in the category, right? I mean, a lot of conservatives come out, and I even made a video about it, but does he put himself in the category of, wait a minute, are you supporting Trump this time? Because he didn't say it, but he said it in so many words.
I'll tell you my little rule. If you want to know if a Hollywood person is conservative or going to vote Republican, just look for the ones who never say anything about politics, because the ones that are all leftists, they're blowhards that never stop bloviating and never stop running their mouth and never stop being wrong. The ones where you never hear anything political, those are the quiet. Because what they do is they go, I'm Republican and I'm a Trump voter, but I can't say anything, I'll be destroyed. On the other hand, I'm not going to go stump for Biden because that would crush my soul. So then there's a third box, which is say nothing. Mm-hmm. And the say nothing people are always the sort of quiet conservatives.
It's also interesting that The Rock announced that he regretted Biden's decision on Fox. Did you see that? Like, would he have done that on CNN or MSNBC? Yeah,
that's interesting.
Well, he would have done it on CNN if CNN had higher ratings, probably. I mean, that maybe and maybe not. Also, it looked like he was drinking a little tequila. So that could have loosened his tongue up a little bit.
But they know what he's going to say. It's not like you go on Fox and they have no idea what the interview is going to be. I'm pretty sure they knew he was going to have some opposing things to say about Biden. So they're like, oh, perfect. This is great. This is a great opportunity to take advantage of that, even on the Fox side. So, but yeah, I think that's interesting. I'm saddened that we don't have men that are strong enough, because if he'd have done the Elon Musk approach and put it out there in front of the world with the opportunity of losing it all, that man could change America. If The Rock came out and said, I'm voting for Trump, I think it's a death blow in Hollywood, but everybody around the world would say, wait a minute, I think so highly of that guy. He's smart. I believed him last time. He was honest about the fact that it didn't work. Maybe I'll consider listening to Trump at least once this year.
Well, this is the problem I've said many times, steering it back toward the black community, which is the LeBron Jameses and the Obamas and the Oprahs. If they would come out and say, look, this is the best country in the world if you're black, and there's a reason why black people from around the world are trying to get here. Nigerians are black and they're kicking ass in this country. You don't have a target on your back. It's even a playing field as we're gonna make it. Now stop running around and playing the victim and get to work and raise your kids. If LeBron James and Oprah and goddamn Obama, because it's so disappointing with that guy, and him and Michelle turn out to be race hustlers, if all those people would rise up and say something, it would make such an impact, and they won't. Because they're cowards.
They're not only cowards, they're evil, because they are living what we're talking about. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, they didn't, I don't know if they came from a lot of money. They worked hard to get to a certain position in life. So did LeBron James. He was in the hood, and everybody knew he was a star when he was in the 8th grade, but still he came from humble beginnings. So let me just say this. There are all these black folks that talk about the white man being the enemy and that America is so bad. All they do is work with white people in America. Right. LeBron James, now I looked it up so I make sure I was factual about it. I think his lawyers and his agent are black. But are you telling me that he's not doing business with white people? He don't have to. He's so rich, he can pick the biggest and brightest blacks and raise them up and only do business with black people. But the dude know that that's not going to make him successful as it would if he opened the realm up to work with anybody. And that's every black person. Every successful black person is either in behind the scenes or in front of the scenes working with white people. When you had BLM and the dumb lady who was running BLM, I wanted to call her a lesbian, but I'm not going to do it. But she ended up taking money and buying real estate. Where would she buy real estate? She didn't go to Atlanta. She didn't go to places where it's in Maryland, where it's primarily black. She went to the whitest areas that you could possibly think of to spend that Black Lives Matter money to do it.
Topanga Canyon.
They're so disingenuous.
I know.
And listen, Adam, you're 10,000% right. If they would just come out and give a positive message, even if they didn't believe it, because they don't believe some of the stuff they say, the world would be different.
Yeah.
Listen, when I was in college, we were brainwashed into black culture, right? I mean, I was on a football team and all the black players were together and we would listen to rap music and just fall into that culture. I mean, I sagged my pants in college. I had gold teeth in my mouth. I was buying into that whole thing. If somebody in that area whom we attached our identity to would just say, man, America ain't racist. You just need to work hard. You need to be accountable. Don't have children out of wedlock. You should get married. Marriage is one of the greatest things that ever happened to you. God is my witness. Probably about 40% of black America would think completely different.
Yeah.
Generations of people would change.
No, Oprah, you can even throw The Rock in there, but certainly the Obamas and LeBron and many other athletes, if they just did it, instead you get Colin Kaepernick, who's just hammering checks from Nikes and hustling race, and people are listening to his dumb ass. And it could change. And by the way, you know who you'd be saving? A lot of black lives.
100%.
Tons of black lives. If you just start talking about marriage and not having kids out of wedlock and family and education and how we don't live in a racist nation, you would literally be saving tens of thousands of black lives every year, but they won't do it because they want to go to the next party.
Right. And Adam, the thing is too, and I think you understand this, there's power in positive thinking. There's power in visualizing success. There's power in that. The way you feel, the way you think can be an arbiter of your success. And when you grow up black in America, you are so defeated as a kid because the white man is controlling everything. White kids are not thinking about black kids. I don't think they are. They're not raised and being worried about where the black people are at. They focusing on their life. They got other things to deal with. But as a black kid, your whole life is surrounded by what white people are doing, what they're not doing, their approval or the lack thereof. And you grow up thinking, I'm less than, because the white man on the hill stole from my ancestors to get to that position, not knowing that most entrepreneurs and millionaires, they are not, trust fund babies. And so when you wake up every day, you feel defeated, you think defeated. When you see a black man is successful, he's telling you you're defeated. And how do you then act when your subconscious and your mind is negative? And that alone is destroying young black people. You get to a job interview and you already start, because the business is full of white people, the head people are all white. You start by saying, I'm not gonna get this job, man, because the white people ain't gonna let me get the job. Just changing the mind of young black people will change the culture tremendously. But when you're in a slump and you hate everything and all the white people hate you, you're never going to make it, and then you start turning on your own brothers and sisters and then you kill them because that's normal to you, and then they hate on you. There was a thing that a guy had made mention, and I this is wholeheartedly the truth, and it probably happens with anybody that becomes successful. He spoke about how he had survivor's guilt. He said survivor's remorse, but I think he meant survivor's guilt. When he left the hood and made a lot of money, he felt bad because he left all his people behind. And he would go back, and when he said he would destroy himself in order to fit in. So he would take drugs, and when he was high and he was losing it, the people in the hood loved him. And they go, "Oh, what's up, man? I love you, man. Keep your head up, man." They talk when he's feeling good about himself, then he's healthy. "Oh, man, you think you better than us," and that's what happens to LeBron James. I think he's an idiot, but you got to think LeBron James came from all of this poverty, and now he the man. And Colin Kaepernick, to a certain degree, right? He's coming up in this beautiful white family. They took care of the man. They gave him everything he needed to be successful. He almost won the Super Bowl when he had a fresh haircut like mine. Mm-hmm. And then what happens? He dates this black girl that brings out the black side, and then he has survivor's guilt, meaning I don't even care about my own people. I left them. I'm only addressing my white side. And now he got to overcompensate. Now he got to be extra black and grow his hair out because he's abandoned his own roots. And that theology and mentality is hard to overcome. But I'm hoping that over time with people like myself and other black, Larry and other black people.
Larry Elder.
Yeah, Larry Elder.
Not Larry Bird.
Yeah, not Larry Bird.
Different dude. No, he's
interchangeable to me.
Yeah, I know. It's just so, I guess I'm so disappointed in the Obamas. I just feel like they could have made such a difference, and they got elected, and then they got the hustle, and they went to becoming race hustlers. And it's just,
but the question
could have made such an impact.
The question is why. So it's not so much as they did it. It's like, why would they do it? You know, why wouldn't they? They know that they could have been the change that America needed. Well, we thought that they were going to be the change that America needed, because it's not a race thing, but also it did take down the defense mechanism of most people in America, saying, look, some of those who felt that America's racist, okay, now they're not. Right. Some people that felt that America wasn't racist, but we kind of needed to right the wrongs or make it clear that everybody has opportunities in this country. That was a statement. I cried when Obama got elected. As a young black man, I was like, wow, there's black in the White House, black family. And I did not realize that he was the worst thing that ever happened to race relations. And you look at the statistics, race relations dropped from 2012 to 2013 and on. It's just been declining. Yeah. And it's because of these fools.
Well,
in part.
What I've always said is we lived under this myth that we lived in a racist country, and all the hustlers and the LeBron Jameses and the Oprahs and all the aforementioned Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, that's the hustle. MSNBC, CNN, that's their entire business. And then the second we elected a black president for a second term especially, Val went, okay, we got to go into overdrive now, because this is flying in the face of our message. We're saying this is a racist country, and we just elected a black president. Yeah. Now, it wouldn't work for any country. It wouldn't work in Indonesia if you said, oh, they hate Moroccans in Indonesia, and then they elected a Moroccan president. You'd go, well, that doesn't feel like they're that racist against Moroccans in Indonesia. So we screwed with their theme, and they, like any good business people, they had a meeting and they hit it. They came back harder. You know what I mean? They basically said, sales of Coca-Cola are dropping off. Coke for dinner, Coke for breakfast. You know what I mean? Like that's when Coke for breakfast came along. Cereal for dinner, says Kellogg's. You know what I mean? They started hitting it real hard because people were looking around and they're patting themselves on the back and they're going, I guess we're not that racist a country after all. And all the hustlers went, oh, whoa, our business is drying up. Our theme is going to hell in a handbasket. Now let's triple down. So find me some tape with some black man getting punched by a white cop or whatever, and let's go to town on it. So all we did is ramp it up. Right. Because the people that are setting the narrative couldn't let go of their narrative, and their theme was in jeopardy because we elected this guy for 2 terms. All right, we need to take a quick break. We got some news. We'll come back with Brandon Tatum. The Officer Tatum Show. It's on YouTube, and we'll do all that right after this. Simply Safe. Spring has sprung. Fresh air, fresh starts. Take a fresh look at Simply Safe Home Security. It's the one I use. It's the one we all use. They've been with us for a long time. And when you move, you just take your system with you. Named Best Home Security System of 2024 by U.S. News and World Report. Best customer service according to Newsweek. Blankets your home with indoor and outdoor cameras, plus sensors for break-ins, fire, flood, and more. 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. No contract, 60-day risk-free trial. Do not love your system? Then return it for a full refund. So what do you got to lose? Simply Safe, 2 eyes in there. Well, they gave me, many of my listeners, peace of mind. And you should have it too. Get 20% off your system today when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/Adam. Get the 20% off at simplysafe.com/Adam. That's simplysafe.com. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
In the spirit of Murrow, Jennings, Cronkite, here's another great moment in local news.
A former Fort Wayne mayor is getting some national attention. Thousands of people voted online to name the new city-county building in his honor.
But that probably won't happen because of his name. News Channel 15's Don Austin is here to explain.
Well, Heather, Mark, the people voted, and the top pick so far with more than 10,000 votes is the Harry Balls Government Center. Harry Balls was the mayor of Fort Wayne back in the 1930s and 40s. He even served a term in the 1950s. We have a street named after Harry Balls, so what's the big deal?
That's a great moment in local news. Now, back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Brandon Tatum is hanging out. The Officer Tatum Show's on YouTube. And I forgot you were safety in college, and then there's Jack Tatum. Yeah. You probably know because of your name, but I never... It's a good name for safety.
Well, you're right. And people have made that connection a long time ago. We weren't able to really verify. It was rumored that he was our great uncle.
And famous Oakland defensive back and enforcer.
And the funny thing is, I was in the NFL draft in 2010, and because now if I had my career the way it should have went, meaning I played every season or whatever, I probably would have been drafted in the first round. That's how great of an athlete I was. However, I didn't play at all in college, but I was still in the NFL draft because I was such a great athlete. The Oakland Raiders were the team.
Why didn't you play in college?
I got hurt my redshirt sophomore year. I had a terrible attitude, and I think my coaches were slightly lunatics. They weren't good coaches, man. They didn't know how to really formulate talent. We had so much talent that they didn't play certain people, and it was a whole host of things. Some of it was my fault, though, because when I was a freshman, I came from Dunbar High School in the hood, and I had such a terrible attitude, and I did not know how to receive coaching. So the coaches weren't like players' coaches. They were just cuss you out, MF you every day, get in your face, yell at you, get the f out of here, and it was just a bunch of chaos. And I couldn't handle that. I was like, and my dad don't even talk to me like this. What y'all? And I want to fight the coaches and stuff, and that started me off on kind of like a bad trajectory. And then I got hurt my sophomore year, season in the injury in the third game, and I was in a doghouse ever since. Although I was probably the greatest athlete on the team. With that being said, in 2010, even though I didn't play much, I think I played a couple special teams, Oakland Raiders were going to draft me. They told my agent that they were going to draft me. And so that would have been really cool if I could have went to the Oakland Raiders as a safety, in the legacy of Jack Tatum. And I was much bigger than him. And
I don't think that big a guy.
No, but he'll hit you.
Yeah.
And I could hit, but Jack Tatum was on another level. I mean, he paralyzing people. You couldn't do that today in today's game.
Yeah, he paralyzed Darryl Stingley.
Yeah, which was horrifying. But
yeah, preseason.
Back in the day, Ronnie Lott, you come across the middle, they're gonna put you to sleep.
There's a lot of Chuck Cecil.
Yeah,
Chuck Cecil. Those guys. All right, we got some news.
Yeah. So there's this L.A. restaurant. I don't know if you've been there. It's called Perch. It's on a rooftop on the Pershing Square building. So A lot of people are concerned with them because they just added a new surcharge to their bills, 4.5% for a security fee.
Yeah.
And, yeah, people are upset about this because they're saying, look, we have to do it. We're on a rooftop. We need extra security here. They're not saying exactly why, but they're just saying we have multiple floors on our restaurant. We need the extra security, and you got to pay it.
Well, everything that we do and everything that goes wrong gets just passed along. So when they go, we're going to raise the minimum wage to $20 and we're going to have this and we're going to have free this or low, it's like, yeah, all right. Then whatever the business is, they'll just pass it.
Right.
They just pass it along. You know what? Okay, let me tell me what you guys think of this. I was going to Vegas last week, and I was at the Burbank airport, and I went by Guy Fieri's kiosk, and I bought a turkey sandwich.
Those pre-made turkey sandwiches.
Prefab turkey sandwich. The turkey. You know what they need? They need a little microwave to get it to room temp, because when it's cold, when sourdough bread gets cold, it tastes shitty and it gets chewy. You need to just bring it up to room temp. But anyway, turkey sandwich. Bag of chips comes with it. Perrier, bottled Perrier, $30 and like 29 cents. They're worth $30, all right? Then when I go to check out, it's just a kiosk in the airport. It's just a stand, and a guy's just standing there. Punch the thing in, 18%, 22%, 25%. No 0, no 10%, no 20, just 18, 22, like 25%. Now I'm just standing there. And also, Officer Tatum will get my... You know what I used to tell my ex-friend David Allen Greer? I'd say to him all the time, for every person that is racist in the society, there's 1,000 people bending over backwards trying to be nicer to black people to prove we don't live in a racist society.
100%.
So I'm just standing there staring at the blackjack, and if that's a redheaded dude, you get nothing.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, shit. So I got to give 18% on $30 for a sandwich. I come back, and for the first time in 7 years, I go to Taco Bell. I go to Taco Bell to get myself a bean burrito. I'd earned it. And I go to pay, and it's like $10 for 2 bean burritos or whatever. But there's no tip. There's just pay. Why is there a tip everywhere? I would tip fast food. Right. I would be happy to give. I mean, I'm looking at this woman behind the counter, 40 years old, heavy set, beleaguered, rough life. I would be more than happy to throw her $8 for her troubles. There should be tipping in fast food, and we should remove it from the airport where you're already getting gouged. I'm already paying $30 for a turkey sandwich.
You're doing the work too. You're picking it.
I'm picking it up.
Yeah.
I had to point at the chips I wanted. Yeah. That was a calorie burner.
You might as well sign the W-9.
I had to get the drink out of the thing.
They should have tipped you, man.
I know. I'm muling that sandwich. Back. I brought the sandwich to them. All right. So what the hell were we talking about? Oh, yeah. They're just going to, the LA is just going to be one of those things where they're just going to keep tacking everything onto everything because everything's getting more expensive. And this is just the way it goes.
But I hope that people are kind of looking at this as what California does versus what places like Arizona do. You know, let me bring my own gun, and then you don't have to charge. Matter of fact, I should get like 20% off if I come in here with my gun, because I'm going to save some lives if something goes south. So I think that people should understand that. We talk about this all the time in the economic sense, is that they're going to pass the money down. There's no way if you knew how much they were bringing in and you calculated 4% of that, that's way more than it costs to have security there, potentially. So what are they really using the money for? We know minimum wage is this, so they got to add little fees in there. Even they do the service charge. It's like, and I don't know if they do it at that restaurant, but they have it at certain hotels, and it's like, well, wait a minute. I kind of like when they do the service charge because I don't feel like trying to pull my money out and do all this. But some people, the service is better than others. So maybe I want to give more than 20% to this person.
I agree. This is all part of my money's invisible thing. All the Apple Pay and all the scan this and all that, they just keep tacking on little bits and pieces. When you got to pull out cash and pay for a bill, you feel what you're paying. You know what I mean? When you just swipe or dab or print or pop or push, it's like it's just all digital.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's all digital.
What it did for the gambling industry.
Yes. Oh my God.
I can't even imagine. So this weekend is the 2024 Masters. And Tiger Woods at the moment is expected to play. He's already flown in early. It has been said that by his friend that he's working really hard in the gym. He's eating right, and he's also eliminated sex to prepare, keep himself in focus. Now, once again, keep in mind, Mike Tyson once said that he went 5 years without sex during his prime fighting years. Muhammad Ali said he would abstain from sex 6 weeks before bouts.
Oh, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. So
this is an urban myth. Plus, he was on top of the world when he was banging all those cocktail waitresses from Hooters. Like,
right, yeah.
He's got a math issue.
He shouldn't stray from what's
He should be straying. Yes. I don't.
There's a concept, and I haven't dabbed into it, but I've heard a couple people talk about semen retention, and that is somehow a real spiritual thing. It's kind of like fasting or something of that nature, where people use it in a spiritual sense. There's no scientific proof, I don't think, that would suggest that if you don't have sex, that somehow you perform, you have a clearer mind. It would be assumed that God made us with enough to populate planets.
Well, look
so
at
you probably should be able to utilize that.
Lawrence Taylor would go out whoring the night before the big game and get 3.5 sacks.
Right.
So maybe he could have got 5 if he didn't.
Well, maybe it was the drugs. I don't know.
But
the horn or the drugs.
It's also this. Golf is, 80% psychological. I mean, all these guys can drive the ball 300 yards. They all have the physical tools to put the ball in the hole. It's so much. It's mental.
Right.
It's a mental game.
Edge.
So if you think, if I said to a golfer, I invented a pill. It's called the Great Golfing Pill. You take it, and it's going to take 10 strokes off your game, and it was just a sugar tablet.
Right.
I bet they take some strokes off just because it's a placebo effect. So I think that maybe you're doing it for a psychological,
psychological edge, yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, sports psychologists are a big thing now. They're all seeing sports psychologists just to get them in the zone mentally. So, yeah, it could be a thing. Seattle. The public schools have dismantled the gifted and talented program, which administrators argued was oversaturated with white and Asian students.
Yeah,
in favor of a
it.
more inclusive, equitable, and culturally sensitive program.
Yeah, never going to work.
Well, let me add to this, because I cannot confirm or deny that my oldest son goes to a school in the state of Washington. I went to his school, and I almost lost my mind. I went into the school, and he's in 8th grade. I went into the school. I go to his math class, which is the class that he's struggling in the most. I want to meet the teacher, see what she's doing in the class. Is it my son? He's not just in there effing around, or is it something going with the teacher? She was out. First thing I see on the wall is Palestine points.
Oh, boy.
So if you get an A, she donates money to Palestine on your behalf.
Wow.
In the back of the room is a pride flag that's the size of this panel right here.
Pride flag, like 4 by 8 foot or 5 by 8 foot.
And then, of course, it seems unified that every teacher has to have the American flag, and it's probably this little right above their desk. But the pride flag is prominent. Then a gay wall, and then in front of every classroom is a rainbow, it's like a little statement, and each statement has a color, and it's the rainbow. Look like the pride flag rainbow. Right. And it says, we are inclusive, we are anti-racist, and stuff like that on every classroom door. This classroom is, and it goes down. And while I was in the math class, kids are completely stupid in the class. And I'm not trying to be mean to anybody's kids. They're doing stuff on a computer, and I look, and the kid don't know her mathematics on a basic level. She had no idea what was going on. Some of the kids didn't even log in the computer, did zero work. Why are they focused on stupid stuff when they should be focused on teaching these kids and getting them up to par? Even one of the teachers told me that they think that the kids should have been held back during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Because they didn't go to school at all. And if your parents were illiterate, you didn't do anything when they had you stay from home, because my son had to go from home and do it on a computer. Now, I'm college educated, and so is his mom. So we could help him get through his homework at home. But if you're a parent that's illiterate or you working on a job, your kid is sitting there losing his entire education. 2 years of this. How do they not let the kids go back and kind of relearn that? Well, instead of they just pushing them out and they're ignorant. So,
all right, this is a good day to bring this up because this day, which is we're taping this on Monday, is the craziest day. Every one of these Mondays drive me nuts, and I have this conversation with my kids every time. They just had 9 days off for Easter. They had Saturday, Sunday, then the whole week.
Spring break.
Oh, yeah. They just took 9 days off. And then when I see them Sunday night, I go, well, back to the salt mine. And they go, oh, we don't got school tomorrow. No. And I go, why don't you have school tomorrow? And they go, well, we don't do the Monday. They don't do the Mondays after the holidays. And I'm like, you just had 9 days off. And I say to them, what is Monday? Why? Why not go back to school? And they go, well, that's the teacher-free thing they do that day. Listen to me. Teachers don't want to work. I've said this a million times. I saw it all through COVID. They didn't want to go back. They're no different than any other American. Look, take essential workers. Take people who work at Trader Joe's. If I walked into the stock room and I said, who doesn't want to be here today? They would all raise their hand. And then I'd go, well, you're not going to get paid if you don't come in today. They'd put their hands back down. And then I'd say, but what if you would get paid like you were here, even if you weren't here? They'd all raise their hand again and leave. The American dream is to get paid and not show up. And teachers share that. Also, the public school is a little bastion of socialism. It's the one place where competition, and they don't want the competition, so they're anti-charter school and they're anti-competition. School unions are anti-competition. They don't want it. Also, they did a little. So you have people that have dropped out of the system and bought into socialism to a degree. Mm-hmm. Where you go, look, you want to go out and start your own business, you want to deal with employees, you want to deal with OSHA, you want to deal with taxes, you want to deal with all that stuff, or I'll guarantee you $52,000 a year and you never have to work in the summer. And you'll get tons of time off. And after having 9 days off for Easter, we'll give you the Monday off. And they go, I'll buy into this. They're little bits, they're little bastions of socialism. So what are they going to teach? When they're there, and it's predominantly women. So what are they going to teach? So you have predominantly left-leaning women. What are they going to teach when they go into the classroom? They're going to keep it all close to the vest. They're not going to let any of their political ideas sneak out. Now they're being encouraged. Also, somebody figured out about 10 minutes ago, they go, look, why are we waiting to brainwash these kids? Why are we waiting until they get to college?
Right.
Let's hit them in junior high.
100%.
Start washing that brain. I say it all the time. I said it during COVID. You want to crate train your dog. You got to crate train a puppy. You can't crate train a middle-aged dog. It doesn't work. It's too late. Yeah. Get them when they're puppies. Start the crate training. That's what's going on. That's why you're seeing all the flags and all this stuff. And then, as far as the test scores go, don't worry about that, because when these kids start failing, we'll just eliminate the test scores. We'll call it racist, or we'll get rid of the system altogether, and we'll all be fine.
Take your kids out of school. Me and the wife with our youngest son, because I have a child with another person. And that was from 13 years ago. But me and my wife, our youngest son, we will not let him go to public school. We're going to homeschool him, because they are washing the brains of your kids, and they're being stupid, and they learn all this crazy stuff. These kids are out of control in the school system. And you know what? I feel bad for the teachers too, because some of them probably don't have intentions to be communist idiots. They are getting bludgeoned in the school. The kid come to school and just tell you, I'm not doing anything.
Right.
And they can't do nothing.
Right.
Shut up, lady. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my mom. You be, and they be on his phone. And the teacher got to say, I have to disrupt the education of everybody in here and accommodate to this one kid that don't have a daddy at home.
Right.
This is what the school system is. Like when I was in that class, the teacher didn't say anything to anybody, man. I almost said something. I was like, oh, hold on, man. Log into your computer or you're going to be an idiot when you grow up. And this guy was just, oh, you didn't log in yet? Listen, we're 40 minutes into the class.
Well, they've also decided that, again, it's a death knell of a group. They go, well, black children are being disproportionately disciplined and expelled, so let's just get rid of that.
Right. Which
all it does is hurt the kids. All it does is hurt the teachers. All it does is hurt the kids that are trying to learn.
Right.
This notion, I always say, or I just started saying, it's like you have a defective airplane, an airplane has problems, and you blame the ground for the accident.
Right.
Okay, you can blame the ground all you want. You can go, well, if the ground didn't exist, then the plane would never hit anything. But you're never going to solve the problem of this defective plane if you're blaming the ground.
Right.
And that's what they do. Everything is backwards. So it's like, there's too many people being arrested. We'll defund the police.
Right.
And there's too many kids being suspended of color. Well, then stop suspending kids of color. And there's too many kids of color and males of color in prison. Well, then don't put them in prison. Like, okay, then get rid of the ground.
Right.
It's really what you're saying. And all it turns into is a shit show. It never works. There's no math where it can ever work. You getting rid of test scores or advanced programs or whatever because there's too many Asians in there because their families are intact and they focus harder on education, that'll never fix the problem.
What's happening is this constant re-election theology, right? You have people that are just running for getting hired or appointed, and so they don't care about actually taking the time to fix the problem. They want to get the numbers right so they look good to get the position. Because if you're a police officer and you're a police chief, Mayor Adams or one of these other people that are leading, what they would do is, and I'm saying Mayor Adams being the mayor, what they're doing is saying it's better for us to change how we classify burglaries. Because therefore, if we change the classification for burglaries, then therefore the numbers will show less burglaries. Or we don't arrest for burglaries if it's over a certain amount, or whatever the case may be, or theft over a certain amount.
Right.
So, or under a certain amount. You do that so your numbers are down. Then you can tout and say crime is down in the city. That's not the way it's actually happening. Crime is up. Cops are just not arresting anybody. They're not prosecuting anybody. Where is the numbers going? And the same thing in the school system. Instead of saying, hey, we have an epidemic of fatherless homes. These young people have no direction. They're violent. They're emotional. They eat candy and sugar all day. They're going crazy. They're on their cell phones. Let's start honing in on those things and drawing them back. And that's going to take some time. That's going to take some pushback from parents. But instead of doing that, they go, well, we just eliminate the test scores. Therefore, everybody is passed. But the kids are stupid. Larry Elder was talking about this at the event we did last night at the Salem event. I'm just shocked that they're okay with, like, majority of young black people in America, 60%, can't even read at third grade level.
Well, look.
How are they okay with that?
I've asked this, and we can find Biden in his clip about airline baggage fees or extra fees or whatever. I have asked a couple of black people where I go, every time Biden goes, these things affect poor people and people of color. I'm like, aren't you offended by that? Yeah. Like you can't buy your own airline ticket?
Yeah, it's stupid.
And that there's two groups?
Yeah.
It affects poor people and Jay-Z and Beyonce, these airline tickets, like that you have your own category when he's up there going, black entrepreneurs are just as smart as white entrepreneurs. They just don't have access to lawyers or accountants.
What?
They don't?
Yeah.
What I want to say to the black community is, why aren't you more offended by the way you're being treated and spoken to?
Yeah, it's like what they call it, the Stockholm Syndrome. I don't know if it's like the people are sympathizing with their abuser. Let me just correct something, because I said that black people can't read at third grade level. No, the third graders are not reading at third grade level. So I just want to make sure I didn't say something crazy.
Right.
But no, I don't. I'm offended. I mean, I'm offended, but I don't give a F, right? I mean, Biden saying, if you don't know who you voting for, me or Trump, then you ain't black. I'm like, hey, bro, that's disrespectful to say something like that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think any of this ends until the black community starts stepping up and saying,
yeah, but
this
when are
is
they going to do
embarrassing.
it? It's almost like the Titanic, this is what I say. I say the black community is like the Titanic sinking. You got to get as many out as possible, but you're not going to save it. It's worse. You look at the smash and grabs here in L.A. and different places. It's mostly black young people, and fatherlessness is not improving.
No,
these boys don't have no daddies, and they're not going to have dads. And then with fentanyl coming in, drug dealers are getting prosecuted for selling the fentanyl, which is a higher prosecution than you would as selling any other drug. Now it's a felony crime. They can charge you with second-degree murder in certain counties, even in California, if you sell knowingly and intentionally selling somebody fentanyl and they die. So you got more prosecution for fentanyl, and you got more people dying from ODing. It's like 3 dudes that I play football with died from ODing, and I know it was fentanyl. It wasn't nothing else. And so it's not going to get any better. And our people who are prominent and successful, they just keep getting stupider. Even the one woman who just won the basketball championship, the black lady, I forget her, South Carolina, the coach.
Yeah.
She, and I don't know if you're friends with her or you like her or not, she just said in a press conference before they won the game that she's okay with biological men participating in female basketball.
Yeah.
They just get stupider and stupider. Kamala Harris, the dumbest woman to ever live and be vice president.
I agree.
There's no, they're not. We're not advancing. So I pray that it change, but I don't know if it will.
I know it's regressing. Well, I'll play the clip, by the way, of Biden, just because it always makes me laugh, because he separates poor people from people of color. And also I like it because it's totally nonsensical. I fly almost every weekend. Every weekend I have the same conversation. How much is first class? It's $3,000. All right, that's too much. They have a business. They have a Coach Plus. What do you get in Coach Plus? Well, you get an extra 6 inches of knee room, and you might sit on the bulkhead. And I go, how much is that? They go, that's $64 more. And I go, all right, let's do that. It's all a discussion, but this is the greatest discussion ever.
Look at him. He's looking stupid.
Decision. Some airlines, if you want 6 more inches between you and the seat in front, you pay more money. But you don't know it until you purchase your ticket. Look, folks, these are junk fees. They're unfair, and they hit marginalized Americans the hardest, especially low-income folks and people of color.
And people of color.
What is people like?
I don't know why there's 2 groups.
I never heard. First of all, I never heard this, and now hearing it is insane.
The airlines prey on people of color.
I fly
who are rich as well.
I fly all the time. I mean, I got concierge key status at American Airlines, and I've never had a conversation where I felt I was being discriminated against on the airlines. You can.
Well, this is over the computer.
Yeah,
no, they know you're black by the way you type.
You misspelled something. I guess you pour black. You know,
you wrote ax A-K-S. No, it's A-S. Ooh. Okay, we're gonna tack on some service.
But why would he? The thing is that I always say I see that they do it, but why? Like, I don't know a black person that'll listen to that and be like, yeah, that's right. I am getting taken advantage of. Just like with the ID thing. I don't know a black person that don't have an ID.
But the whole point is it's a constant hustle. It's a constant hustle. And all it is, it's like, it's basically like if you had a teenager and the teenager was struggling a little with their weight, and I was like, son, we got to sit down and let's talk about your math, fat, and we want to talk about your teachers, and we talk about long division, chubby, and we want to talk about, it's a constant like, oh, wait a minute, Biden spoke for 11 seconds without riling up black people. Like he's talking about airline garbage fees or junk fees, right? Which, first off, I really don't know what he's talking about because everyone buys that. His description of it was insane, but he can't give. He has a microphone to speak into, and he'll never say anything into a microphone that doesn't have a little race hustle in it. Even if he's talking about ostriches at the zoo, it doesn't matter. He's talking about airlines.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with race?
Yeah.
And then why would you separate poor people from black people?
Right, as if it's like, now you can say
He's
all
a race hustler.
100%. You can say all poor people. That would make sense. People that are low income. But then where does the black people come in?
It's like him. All right, here's what this old fool's saying. He's going, look, you order ice cream, you order one scoop, it costs $1.50, but you offer 2 scoops, and then that costs $3, and this disproportionately affects poor people. It's like, well, no shit. Everything hey, asshole, a parking ticket that's $61 disproportionately affects poor people than it does Elon Musk or Bill Gates. Oh, by the way, gas at $5.50 a gallon disproportionately affects poor people too, Joe. But yes, everything that costs more disproportionately affects poor people, because if you make 20 grand a month or you make 2 grand a month, you shall be disproportionately affected by the exact same burger charge of $16. Right. But then you go, and black people, and now you're into some weird racist zone, and you're calling American Airlines and Delta Airlines racist, essentially.
Exactly.
And you're living in some sort of weird world where somehow they know what your race is when you're booking tickets.
Online.
All right.
Insane.
Brandon, I'm sorry, you got me fired up. Got a whole second half of the show go with that. So I went down to the Reno Automobile Museum.
The National
Automobile Museum. I talked to the great Leno, Jay Leno. I talked to Nell Newman, Paul Newman's daughter. And then James Cox is the guy who got the Rolex watch given to him by Paul Newman when he was a teenager, and then later on sold it for $17.5 million. So he will tell that story in great detail. Brandon, the Officer Tatum Show, love listening to your program. You can check it out on YouTube and hear some truth.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, if you guys want to hear the unadulterated truth from a person who's a Christian and all of that, go follow the show.
All right, we'll take a break, and we'll come back with Leno and Newman and all the big names right after this. Stamps.com. Well, there's a no-brainer decision for me, like getting hash browns over home fries or cubed potatoes or whatever such slop they're trying to put in front of me. Now, if you make decisions for a company, here's another no-brainer. Stamps.com. Stamps.com, mobile app. It's like a post office in your pocket. All you need is a computer and a printer. Schedule pickups right through the dashboard. We use these guys. We've always used these guys. Merch and swag and books all sent out with Stamps.com because we're a small business, and that's why we use them. Rates you can get, rates you can't get anywhere else. That's right. Up to 89% off of U.S. Postal Service and UPS. Make the same no-brainer decision as over 1 million other businesses with Stamps.com. Use the promo code Adam. Promo code Adam. That's right. For a 4-week trial, plus free postage and free digital, no commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and enter the code Adam. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming out. I do a lot of stuff, but the car stuff's always a treat. And it's not the cars, it's the people. No, it's probably more the cars. If you guys would just clear out so I can enjoy the cars without being bothered, that'd be a hell of a day. And speaking of cars, so you guys know that Jay Leno is going to join us via Skype. Jay's a car guy par excellence, and Jay was supposed to come out. There's something happened. There were some plans and they changed, but Jay was nice enough to agree to join us via Zoom from his shop in Burbank, California. So I think we should pot Jay up because he's been waiting long enough for us. Jay?
Adam, how are you?
Jay, in front of the Bugattis? Is that what you're in front of there?
Yes, yeah. I can just feel the excitement in the room, the electricity. It's unbelievable.
Jay, I actually saw Jay earlier today because we were flying out of a airport, Burbank Airport, right by Jay's shop. Swung by, said hi. Was nice enough to hang out with us a little bit. But I told Jay, I said, we should probably hear that story about the time Paul Newman came out to the Tonight Show and you had the go-kart race.
Right, right. Well, he really is a racer. There are a lot of show business people that are not really that level racer. I mean, he's a Le Mans competitor. I mean, he's Sebring, all of those. And anyway, we had these electric golf carts. And at the time, NBC has got like 30 sound stages, which means you have hallways that are 30 to 40 feet wide, and they run for a good quarter mile, some as long as a half a mile. So it's almost like a racetrack. So we set up a track with these electric go-karts. So I figured, well, I'm going to practice all day. So I'm in the electric cart and I'm sliding around and everything. I'm practicing. Like, at least I'm going to be able to keep up with Paul, So Paul Newman shows up. I think he was 80 at the time, something like that. And we start racing, and you can see in his eyes, he's got like murder in his eyes. It's just, he's just going to kill me on this track. And he just killed me. I mean, he cut every apex perfectly. It's like he went home and studied this. I mean, it was hilarious. He was really fast. He was really funny. And it's just the difference between athletes and regular people. A lot of people, you don't think of a race car driver as an athlete, but really they are. They have to be highly trained. They got a lot of stress. The average F1 racer has more G-forces forced upon them than even the Apollo astronauts or guys going into space. It's very physically demanding. And I realized I was not that guy. And I was like 55 at the time, and Paul was like 80 something. It just killed me. Just wiped me off the track. Hilarious. Very, very funny.
Jay, do you have any, I know cars sort of come to you because you like the story of the cars. So if you've ever walked around with Jay through his shop, he shows you the car and then he tells you the story of how he got the car, the story of how the car was built, the story of the man who came up with the idea of the car. And it's very much a storyteller, but through the headlights of the car. So I know people reach out to you and you're a historian, but is there stuff that's out there that you want? Is there a sort of holy grail for you in automobiles? Is something you'd like to get your hands on?
No, not really. It really is the impact. I did something a while ago. I had a show in Wisconsin. And it was one of those deals where there was... the next morning, there was a car show at a mall parking lot across the street that was near a park. And my plane didn't leave until 1 o'clock. So I'm going to go to this car show. So I go to the car show, and it's like the winning car was a 66 Pontiac Tempest 6-cylinder. Okay, it was immaculate. It was
Slant 6 or straight 6?
Oh, no, that overhead cam 6 that Pontiac made for
overhead. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
But the idea was, and I started talking to guys, and it's a difference between an LA car show where guys have all kinds of money and every kind of possible car, and guys, almost to a person, each guy had a project they were working on that they're going to hope to finish after the kids leave and graduate from high school and go to college.
Yeah.
But the kids are now in the second grade. I mean,
Right.
they're drinking beer and eating bratwurst. But it was all about dreaming. It was all about dreaming about how I'm going to do this and how I'm going to do that. And the guy that won with an extremely rare but not valuable car, just one of those 4-door Pontiac 66, not a collectible, but something that obviously had been in his family all these years. It was his parents, and they gave it to him. And he restored it, and it looked brand new. And it was done with hand sanding and Rust-Oleum paint cans and buffing it. And just the amount of work. So the guy really connected with the car, and I really enjoyed talking to these guys because they're the kind of guys I grew up with. And I like that part of it. I mean, it's nice to have money and buy expensive things, but every now and then you see a Dodge Dart that your friend's mom used to have that you went on a date in or whatever it might be. No, I didn't go on a date with the guy's mom. That would be awful. But you get one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, because I'm in Malibu part-time, and you see guys driving up and down PCH in their McLarens and their Ferraris and, Lambo Gallardos and stuff like that. And you realize there's no connection to this car. They sold the business, they made some money, they bought a car that they saw in a magazine, but there's no blood in it. There's no connection. And I do love it when you talk to someone who's really into it, but...
Well, I'll tell you a story. Someone
Yes.
we both know, I'm not going to say who it is, but a famous person. He said, Jay, we get a chance. Can I talk to you about cars? I go, yeah, sure. Yeah, tomorrow? Okay. So I go, what's up? He goes, well, I want to get a sports car, but what's the best one to get girls with? And I said, well, I just got one girl, and I had her like 40 years now. So I don't really know what the latest car is. In my case, it was a 55 Buick Roadmaster. But he goes, no, but you really, is a Corvette better? Is a Ferrari better? To get girls? I go, I don't know. I don't get girls in cars. I got the same girl. I'm fine. And it was the most ridiculous conversation because he didn't know anything about cars and couldn't care. He just wanted to know which car got the most girls. I go, it doesn't work that way. So that's the difference between LA and Wisconsin.
And that is the only difference between LA and Wisconsin.
Exactly.
So, Jay lives and breathes it because I was coming to the airport at noon in Burbank today, and I had a friend, and he said, maybe we could say hi to Jay. And I said, I know Jay's at his shop. I'll just call Jay at 11 o'clock on any random Saturday, and Jay will be at his shop. And I called Jay, and Jay randomly was at his shop at 11 o'clock on a Saturday. So, I mean, that is just where you are when you're not in Wisconsin critiquing Pontiacs, right? You pretty much, if you're in LA and you're not working, you're at your shop, and if you are working, you may be at your shop as well, correct?
Yes, that's fair to say. And what is your question?
When he's not busting balls, he's at his shop.
You're on a permission to treat as a hostile witness?
I find it fascinating. The thing, I've brought it up more than once with you, Jay, but it's implausible and insane to me that you have all these in the cars. Everyone talks about the cars, but the motorcycles, people. I looked at 30,000 motorcycles at his shop today. It's crazy. Your motorcycle collection is quietly unparalleled. I would say, Jay. In a sense, everyone talks cars, but I think. Can you talk about the motorcycles for a minute?
What do you want to know? I mean, I like motorcycles. I like the fact that I got into motorcycles because you could park 6 or 7 motorcycles in the space where you had one car. That's why I kind of got started, because when I just had a house with a 2-car garage, I could get 8 motorcycles in here and park my wife's car out in the street.
You should know that when I saw Jay earlier today, and I said, well, when I work construction, so I should tell people how I met Jay. Some people know the story, but many years ago, it was probably about 85, 86. I don't know when you were up in that house in the hills.
Yeah, that's about right. Well, 80 to 86, yeah.
80 to 86. So, okay, I get a job. I'm working construction. I'm making $8 an hour, and we're remodeling a house on a windy street in the Hollywood Hills, and I'm out there busting up stucco and slinging stucco, and I'm on scaffolding all day. And I look across the street because they're very narrow streets, and you can see right into the other house. And I get to the job at 7 a.m., and I'm working all day. And at about noon, I see a guy get out of his house, go to his mailbox, get the mail, get the paper, goes back into the house. Jay, if I'm screwing up the timeline, you tell me. But he gets the newspaper, heads back into the house. And then I'm sitting there going, God, this guy's got a great schedule. He's not going to work. He doesn't have to be anywhere. Then at about 2 in the afternoon, he goes out to his garage. This is a modest house in the Hollywood Hills, probably only $3.7 million. And he's putzing around on his motorcycles all afternoon. So I think, who is this guy? What kind of schedules does this guy have? I want this schedule. I've been here since 7. I got stucco all over me. So when I knock off at 3:30, I go across the street and I walk over and I go to the guy's garage and I go, hey, what's going on with your schedule? And then I go, oh, it's Jay Leno. And you weren't a household name at the time. You'd probably done Letterman a couple times. It's before the Tonight Show. And he's like, he was surprised I recognized him. And I was like, I've seen you on TV. And he's like, yeah. And I thought, oh, this is the greatest schedule ever because you putz around with your motorcycles all day. And then at night you go out and do a 20-minute set. And then you come back home again and you putz around with your motorcycles. And I was so impressed. And right then and there, I said, Jay, I want to do comedy. Whatever the schedule is, I want in on this schedule. I'm tired of my schedule. And he helped me. He was generous. He was magnanimous. He told me to go to the Deli Smoker in Studio City and do stand-up, open mics, and make a cassette and everything. But that's when I first met Jay. But today, I said, Jay, I remember going back up to that house up in the hills that you rented. And he said, I didn't rent it. I owned it. I don't rent. I own. And I thought, good policy, Jay.
Do you remember Boris, the guy across the... How Hollywood is this? My wife and I moved into that house, and we see a guy across the street. And I go, well, we're the new neighbors. Let's go introduce ourselves. So I well, let's bring something. So we go down and we buy a cake. Okay. So I take this cake out of the bing bong, and he opens with a robe on. He goes, yeah. I go, hi. My name. He's starting, Grace, can I help you? Oh, I'm Jay. I'm your neighbor. I just want to say hello. Got you a little housewarming gifts. And I look in the living room and I see 2 naked women on the floor and a guy with a camera. And these girls go,
Boogie Nights. Think Boogie Nights.
Yeah, these girls go, cake. And they crawl over and I put the cake down and they start eating it. Guy goes, they're shooting a movie. I said, look, you're obviously very busy here. You're making it. I just thought to get, and the guy's going, stop, no more cake. No more cake till after. Don't bring cake to give to actors. I said, okay, no problem. I said, I just didn't get more LA in that. And then, of course, the construction guy across the street, he decides to stop working on stucco and do stand-up comedy. So it was interesting.
You had your 55 Buick Roadmaster in the driveway at that house.
Right, still in my driveway.
Somebody said to me when we were walking through your 180 cars, what you do with Jay is you just visit his shop every 4 months and there's 26 more cars than the last time you were there. But he said, has Jay ever sold a car? And I said, I don't think so, but you could answer that question.
I did sell a car. I bought a Tesla in 2012. I had it for 7-8 years, and I got the new plaid Tesla. So I sold that one because it's basically the same car. And but that's the only car I've ever sold. I just kind of hang on to everything.
And I know you got a new Rolls Royce in there, or is it a Bentley? I can't recall. I think it's a Rolls Royce, all electric, right?
That new Spectre, yeah, it's pretty impressive. It's a great car. You save the planet. I guess so. Sure, why not?
The Rolls Royce drivers are who are going to save the planet. Yeah,
exactly. Well, it's electric, which is what Rolls Royce should have been a long time ago. I mean, they're always about quiet and about torque. They were always behind the time. Say, and the loudest thing at a Rolls Royce you hear is the clock. Well, yeah, that's because it's a noisy clock. That was a problem. But but it's a truly modern car. It's very aerodynamic. It's obviously more fuel efficient than a gas V12. But it's just interesting, and I applaud the fact that they're sort of trying to move forward.
It is. it's so impressive looking. It jumped right out at me, and I hadn't. It obviously knew.
What if you thought it was a Bentley?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Rolls and Bentley. I mean, you could probably tell us the Rolls and Bentley story, right, Jay?
Yeah. Bentley went bankrupt in 1931. Rolls bought him out. W.O. Bentley worked for Rolls, got fed up, went to work for Lagonda, designed the V12, a bunch of Le Mans cars, went to work for Aston Martin. But Rolls-Royce kept, Bentley was just a cheaper version of a Rolls-Royce with a different grille for many years. And then Volkswagen got Bentley and BMW got Rolls-Royce, and the Germans are building the way they should have been built.
I told you he could answer the Rolls-Bentley conundrum. Last but not least, Jay, because I know you're hanging out late and you got a set at Flappers tonight. It's an inside joke. Jay's not playing Flappers tonight. It's a comedy club in Burbank. Last but not least, so
yes.
I was walking through your shop today. I saw the tank car. It's got a tank engine in it. It's everything. It's all there. You guys will never be invited, but it's amazing. But no, and Jay's very magnanimous. Every single time I've showed up at Jay's shop, he's giving a tour to some group of normal people, which I think is impressive, Jay. And so 2 questions. One is,
Yes.
when you go, where do these cars all go? You don't have kids. I ask you this every time. It's not that I want to be the person they're bequeathed to, but I am. Who better than me? That's all I'm saying.
Oh, just about anyone.
The swinger Boris next door would be better than me.
Yeah. That's it. You know, it's not my problem. I don't really work.
You say it every time, but it's got to go to the city of Burbank or to the, some charity.
But why do you ask the same question and you know the answer each time?
Because I think with time, the answer may change.
Insanity to keep asking the same question and expecting a different answer.
You're right, but I feel like a cop that's sweating a gangbanger. At some point, after I offer him cigarettes, the story's going to change. All right, but here's the car I want to talk about. Okay. I want to talk about the Mercedes Gullwing that you have. He has, okay, so you all know the Mercedes Gullwing, and the Mercedes, they're going up. They're moving fast, Jay. I don't know if you're paying attention, but they're knocking on the door.
It's based on a W194, the old race car.
And they're knocking on the door of a couple $1 million now. And Jay has one. So if you ever see a Gullwing for sale or a convertible for sale, 300 Mercedes, they're always to the nines, done up, nut and bolt, restoration, perfect restorations. You do not see any drivers. You do not see any sort of as is. Jay has his Gullwing is sort of as is. And
well, mine was a race car. Mine had been used. Ran at Riverside for years. When I found it, it was in a shipping container out in the desert, and the engine was not in it. And I tracked down the owner and made a deal for it. And when I got it, he said to me, "Oh, I had the engine rebuilt in Germany." I went, "Yeah, okay, That's the kind of car you just buy no matter what the condition because you're not going to find another one." So I bought it, and I went to his place, and we picked up the engine, and it wasn't a container, and it had a lot of German words on it. And we opened the wooden container up, and I noticed a lot of assembly lube around the motor. I said, well, this looks promising. And we took the engine out and put it on my dyno. It made a little over 210 horsepower, something like that, which is pretty good. Apparently, it had been rebuilt in Germany. So we did that, we put that back in, rebuilt the transmission, did the brakes, kept the body as it was, that patina, was painted back in the 60s by Junior's House of Color, which was a famous hot rod guy, a guy named Tony Nancy, who was a racer, got famous doing hot rod upholstery. He did the leather seat. So it's sort of a period, it's what you would have raced if you bought it as a secondhand car back in the 60s. And I keep it that way because I can sit on the fender. I don't worry about scratching it. And it's not going to run any better because the brakes, the engine, the transmission, they've all been redone. So it runs like new and it's quite fast. It just doesn't look fancy. You know, I don't drive around with fitted luggage and all that kind of stuff. And people just like that patina look to it. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, just for fun, Jay, and because it'll make me angry,
Yeah.
what did you pay for that car?
$80,000.
So it's only $2 million today. Do you remember, just because it jumped in my head when you're talking about who painted the car, do you remember your predecessor, Johnny Carson, had one of his things where, he had his sayings. He'd go to the Slauson cutoff and cut off your Slauson. And
Right.
one of them was he had an Earl Scheib. He had the Earl of Scheib. Do you remember that?
I do kind of remember that. Yeah, vaguely.
All right. Just checking.
Is that going anywhere?
No, just kicking tires, as we say in the automotive industry.
I wonder if any neurologists are watching this. I'd be curious.
Oh, okay, that's right. Listen, I'm good for 4 more years. Do not,
I've heard
question my stamina, Jay.
that. You're the second guy to say that.
Jay, what do we, should we, I don't have a plug sheet in front of me, but what can we plug for you? I mean,
Oh, it doesn't matter. Nobody's watching.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't think the.
Oh, it's so sad. All right, Jay Leno, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Adam. I appreciate it. And the Reno Museum is great. It's a lot of fun. I've been there a bunch of times, and they've got some great cars, and there's a lot of history in that area. Bill Harrow was one of the original car collectors. He saved so many cars that would have gone to the scrapyard or been junked that are now valuable automobiles. So I'm very grateful to them.
Thanks, Jay. We love you, and the car community loves you. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Talk to you later, my friend.
Thanks, my friend.
Bye-bye.
All right, the great Jay Leno, always down, always busting my chops. Jesus Christ. You know his big cars. You know the car he loves the most. He has a Senna. No, sorry. He has a F1 McLaren, right? You guys know? 93. Got the 3-seater, the middle seat. So like I sit in the middle, and then my girlfriend sits on the right and the left. You know how that works? You guys know that car story? It's a 93 McLaren F1. Jay paid $800,000 for it, sticker, out of the factory, brand new, 93. So that's, 1993, $800,000. That gets you a decent house, right? But that's what it was. I was with him 6 hours ago at a shop. Turned down $20 million. Ford turned it down. One sold for 24. So that was a good factory, buy. For those of you who bought a new K car, not quite the return on investment, but a lot of pride, a lot of American pride. Don't hang your head. O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. They offer friendly, helpful service and the parts, knowledge, and everything else you need to maintain and repair your vehicle. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in store or online. You never have to worry if you're in a jam. They got your part. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car. It's nice not to have to yank that thing. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right battery for your vehicle. Need your windshield wipers replaced, brake light fixed, or quick service? They'll help you find the right parts or point you in the nearest local repair shop so you can have the pros do it. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, and all friendly. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto, do-it-yourself. And you can find out what you need in-store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today, or you can give them a visit O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. All right. Should we bring Nell Newman up here and James Cox as well?
Hello.
So Nell's Paul's daughter, and Nell also an environmentalist, biologist, entrepreneur, basically, and car owner, and sort of picked up and ran with Newman's Own and all that, right?
I did. And I know how you feel about wishing that Jay Leno would give you his cars, because
Yeah.
I felt the same way about my dad.
I know you'd like to get your filthy paws on all my cars, right? When I say paws, P-A. Paw. Those were paws cars. Thank you. And so James is up here because he was the guy that sold the Daytona Newman watch for $18 million, and it's the craziest story ever. And it gets crazier. It's a crazy story. But so we'll get into that in a moment. But Nell, I feel like you've been in my orbit for a little while, and so when did the food stuff come around? The Newman's Own stuff come around for you?
Oh, for me, I started Newman's Own Organics in 1993. Had a harebrained idea to do. Had a harebrained, there we go. Had a harebrained idea to do a line of organic food products. And Dad thought it was a good idea. And we, of course, picked pretzels because that was his favorite snack food.
Oh, pretzels. So as I know it from doing the doc, but you can feel free to coach me up on this. They'd go down and race on the weekends, and they'd bring the circus would come to town, the 18-wheelers with the cars and all the spares and all the tires and all the mechanics would all sort of roll in, and then the Winnebago would come in, and they'd have to set up. Because if you guys have not been to like Road Atlanta's not in Atlanta. No. It's way outside of Atlanta. It's very rural. And there's really no Holiday Inns, and there's no infrastructure, especially back then. And so you'd have to come into the track and set up for, qualifying, practice on Thursdays, practice on Fridays, qualifying, Friday, race on Saturday, Sunday. It's a whole long weekend, and you'd be bivouacked there the whole time. So everyone, mechanics and team owners and everyone else would be sort of hanging out, other drivers, and it was a community. And they used to say Paul would barbecue, he'd cook burgers for everyone. He'd get 23% fat hamburger. That's what they said.
They're the best.
And he'd be cooking and making a salad dressing, right?
Yep. That was basically, everybody took turns cooking, but Dad made his own salad dressing and grilled burgers, and at one point there was a place you could eat across the street, I think, but there wasn't a lot of availability of food.
So at some point, Paul said to Bob Sharp in Danbury, Connecticut, of Newman Sharp. So if you see the cars, they'll say Newman Sharp on them. So he said to Bob Sharp, like, hey, I think I'd like to make my own salad dressing and maybe give the money away to charity. And so Bob knew Ken of Ken's salad dressing. And if I screw any of this up, jump in.
No, you're hitting it on the head.
So Bob said, I could set you up with Ken's of Ken's Steakhouse and Ken's salad dressing. You guys know the name. And he said, so Paul said, well, I want this tall, long neck sort of flute with a cork in it and something a little artsy-fartsy. And Ken said, look, we got 3 bottles. We're not retooling our bottle line for your bottle. So you pick one. And so if you think about Paul Newman's Own salad dressing, and you picture Ken's salad dressing bottle, you'll sort of see the same bottle because that's who he was set up with. And so it was sort of a Bob Sharp and Sam Posey, who's a legendary driver. His wife did the
original little drawing on it. The only correction I'd make was that he didn't have a clue how it was going to do. He just wanted to do the salad dressing because he'd been making it in wine bottles and giving it away every Christmas. So this just thought, well, I'm just going to make it. I'm going to make it commercially, and we'll see what happens. So they sold the lowest amount of run they could do was 30,000 cases. And so they had to do 30,000 cases, and when those sold, it was $890,000. And Dad said he felt guilty putting the money in his pocket, so he gave it away. That was how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he didn't put it on the label for years.
He didn't put his name on the label.
No, he put his name on the label, but I kept saying, Pop, if you tell people you're giving the money away, maybe they'll buy more.
To charity,
And
right.
so it took 2 or 3 years, and then it was the smallest print. It said, all profits at charity, like up by the cap, where you tear the label, you know?
Right.
Pretty amazing, very helpful.
Yeah. And then that, of course, popcorn came off of that, and spaghetti sauce and dog food, and it's it's ubiquitous now. But it started at the track. It started with a philanthropic. Well, it started with I like salad dressing, I guess, and then 23% fat ground beef, and it just kind of went from there. But James Cox over here. That story, I mean, Newman aside, is one of the most fascinating stories ever, the whole watch story. So could you tell the audience the watch story?
Well, starting from the beginning, I met Nell in college, and I was standing there, first day in college, just a young punk.
Where in college?
This was College of the Atlantic in Bar Harbor, Maine. It's kind of a hippie school, and they had a gravel driveway. And I'm standing there, and down the driveway comes this Nissan Stanza, like 82, maybe. Her dad was sponsored by Nissan or Datsun at the time, I think maybe. And this Stanza comes down the driveway, hits the U-brake, spins around. This girl gets out. She's got this short haircut. She looks like David Bowie, kind of. She's got a six-pack of St. Pauli girl. She marches past me and looks at me like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, wow, that girl is hot. And she was using a different name at school. She wasn't going by Nell Newman. She was trying to go under the radar.
What was I going under?
Michelle Newman.
It was like Nell Potts.
Smart.
Nell Potts. And I was like, man, the car, the beer, the cute David Bowie haircut.
Right.
I was like, I gotta, so I spent months chasing her around the campus. And then we ended up dating for about 10 years.
And rebuilding the treehouse.
Yeah. And I went back to their house in Connecticut that summer to meet the family. At that point, I finally figured out she was Paul's daughter.
So you're 19, 20?
I was 18.
18?
Yeah.
At the time. So you go back to the house, and you're rebuilding the guest house, the treehouse, the house.
It was super cool because I got to stay in the house. When you're 18 years old and the parents are like letting me stay there. Super cool.
But I wasn't there. It was just Dad and James.
Right.
And
why weren't you there?
I was doing a Peregrine Falcon release site in Vermont. My mother was doing a play, and it was just Dad and James.
Oh, now it sounds like my childhood.
Yeah, so I got stuck there all summer.
You're hanging out with Paul?
Yeah, I'm 18 years old. I know he's a cool guy, but he's also, at that time, my girlfriend's dad. So there's all like double pressure, right? And they have this old treehouse that was falling down, and I decided to rebuild it that summer. So I would go rebuild the treehouse during the day. Paul would have all kinds of people coming over to visit, and usually at like 4 or 5 o'clock, he'd wander over to check on the progress. And he'd always have somebody in tow, like Martin Scorsese or people like that. I didn't know who these people were, of course.
Right.
Or Bob Sharp.
Bob Sharp would come over a lot. And then one day, Paul comes over and he's like, "Hey, do you know what time it is?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I don't have a watch." And he takes off his Rolex and hands it to me. He says, "If you wind this, it tells pretty good time." And at the time, I knew it was very sentimental. On the back of the watch, it said, "Drive carefully, me." It was a gift from Nell's mom to Paul when he first started car racing.
Yes. Yeah, but I have thought about it before, which is it's pretty magnanimous that he handed you this watch, but on the other hand, it's kind of a douche move because your mom inscribed this thing and he just like handed some
she had just given him another one.
Oh, she gave him
she gave him a new one. Yeah.
One.
So what? Yeah.
Oh,
and the new one says is "Drive carefully, Joanne." So that's why. So it was super cool, not so douchey. Yeah, I was a cool
All right.
kid, but I'd only known the family about a year.
So
ago.
you get the Rolex. It's 1982
2 or 3, yeah.
something. You know, a Rolex was a Rolex, but not really a household name.
It's just a Rolex.
Just a
Well, I
Rolex.
thought it was pretty cool.
I mean, I knew it was cool. I was like, oh,
Put it on.
I wore it for 30 years,
Right. So
every day, pretty much.
And so it's interesting because I've never been a watch guy. So if you would have given it to me, I would have went like, oh, thanks. I would have put it somewhere and then forgot about it and probably lost it. But you wore it every day, but yet you weren't a watch guy because you didn't know what time it was.
I was 18 years old.
Thank God you didn't have a Timex on because he would have went, do you know what time it is? It's 4:21. He went, okay, sorry, keep moving. Finish nailing that deck, bro. But you didn't have the watch.
Yeah. No, he probably had intention coming over to me that day.
He had intention. So he gives you the Rolex, and you wear it from that day on.
Mm-hmm.
And you never miss a day. Is there a cosmic sort of like connection? Like, is there a feeling that this is important, or are you just force of habit?
Well, I mean, it was just a very sentimental gift. I knew how important it was. And so it was the most important thing I owned, and I definitely cherished it. But
And I heard tale that you found a second Rolex.
yes, I did find a Rolex. There's a whole
2
bunch of
Rolexes. 0 for 2 in Rolexes.
Well, I
2 and 0
later.
in Rolexes.
I found one biking in the streets of Berkeley.
This is incredible.
And I thought it was a fake, and it wasn't. And I traded it for a really crappy 73 914 2-liter. That caught on fire.
You know when you're riding your bike and you find a watch and you trade it for a car and it sucks. And it gets vapor lock and you're so pissed off.
Did you ever drive a 914 it's like shifting 5 feet of garden hose?
I don't.
But actually, you know
not
what?
a real
cool
Porsche.
Paul Newman story, when he came to visit Nell and I in California once, and I had this piece of junk 914.
Same one.
Same one, right? So Nell says, "Oh, Pop, you should go drive James's car." Like being nice to me. I'm like embarrassed. Like
you guys are living in L.A.
We were in Santa Cruz, Ben Lonesome, Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz.
So Paul goes out, and I'm thinking, I'm really embarrassed. He gets in this 914. I can barely shift it, and it's my car.
Right.
And it's got a glass pack on it, and the tires rub. And we're on Highway 9 up in Felton.
It's been breathed on a little bit.
Yeah.
Souped
He gets
up.
in this thing and drives it like he owns it. It's amazing. I'm like telling him about this. I'm like, third gear's kind of hard to find. He's like, he just gets in the thing, drives 4 or 5 miles up, turns around back. He's like, it's a good car, kid. And it didn't catch on fire while he was driving it, which was great. But the guy was just gifted in that way that of course. But that's, yeah.
He said the same thing about my Mustang, except he said it needed brakes.
You had a notchback Mustang, right?
Yeah, that I bought. I still have.
Oh, you still have it?
65?
66?
65, 289 hypo.
289.
With 411 gears.
Wow, you can really get lost.
And a box of
There's
Playboys
a
in the
story.
back.
That's a song. It's a deep cut, but yeah. All right, I'm not going to think about the song. Hot Rod Lincoln. All right. Point is this: we like a fastback. We'll take a notchback. That's all right.
That's exactly
289
what I said.
hypo. That's fine. So the watch, the journey of the watch is interesting. So you get the watch in 82, you're 18 years old, you put it on, it has significance to you, but not a monetary significance, just a sort of emotional significance.
Yeah, the connection with.
And you wear it right on through as you go through your life, finding Rolexes. Let me just paint a contrast in life experiences between James and myself as it pertains to the Rolex watch. I did the Monterey Historics in 2011. I drove a BRE Pete Brock 2000 Roadster Datsun before a Nissan 69 2000 Roadster, and I won the Rolex Cup in this Pete Brock, designed the split window vet, Legend 2000 Roadster, and I won the Rolex Cup, And anytime I ever say to anybody, I won the Rolex Cup, the only thing they ever say is, did you get a Rolex? And I say, no, I did not. And they go, oh, I'm so sorry. And they leave. And then I feel bad for winning the Rolex Cup. So that is a sharp contrast from you going about your merry way, just finding Rolexes, just going and walking and being hit and pelted with Rolexes, and going to use the bathroom and zipping your fly out and find a Rolex flies out into the toilet. It's a very stark contrast to my relationship with Rolex watches.
Yeah. Well,
but you have 0 cups.
We should hang out more.
I'm going to stay close to you. So you get the Rolex, you find the other Rolex, you get the 914 with the linkage problem.
Yeah. And
but the
fire
glass
problem.
pack's on it, so it's a hot rodder. And you wear the Rolex. When do you realize that the Rolex has some value to it?
Well, I was at a trade show, and a Japanese businessman who didn't speak much English at all was trying to do business with me, and he saw my watch.
What year is this?
This is probably 90s.
No.
Late 90s? I think that was. And he looks at my watch, and he says, Paul Newman
No,
watch.
it was after Dad died.
So, okay.
2008.
Well, he died in 8.
Yeah, well, I'm
or
terrible
9.
with calendars. So he looks at my watch, and he's like, Paul Newman watch, Paul Newman watch. I'm thinking, how does this guy know? I'm like, yeah, Paul Newman watch. And so I looked it up online, and it turns out my watch had its own Wikipedia page.
My watch.
My-
Because there is a Rolex Daytona that's also known as a Newman Rolex, so it
Yep.
gets a little hazy. There's
Yeah.
many different Rolexes.
But
the
there's
Daytona,
one that's
but
synonymous.
There's one synonymous with Paul Newman.
Yeah, so he wore it when he started racing, and there was a photograph on an Italian magazine with Paul wearing the watch, and all the watch collectors just kind of went nuts.
Because you could time with it.
Yeah,
Right,
It was
right.
actually back then,
Yeah.
before smartphones and everything, they actually used these things to race.
Right, chronographs. And they even had they'd be mounted on the dash.
Yeah.
Of your dad raced a Ferrari Daytona, probably at Daytona with a Daytona.
You need
He
to get
put
that
his
car.
John Hancock on a John Hancock. No, I mean, it's like you'll see the watch on the dash of the old Ferraris, right? Daytona's that way. Daytona, you're doing a lap, it's a 2.5 mile lap. But so you realize it has its own webpage. The Daytona Newman Rolex,
Yep.
but not your Rolex, or was it your specific one?
It
Well-
was his specific one.
Oh,
There
okay.
wasn't a lot of them. There was
Right.
There was only one that was Dad's.
Yeah, the
Right.
one that I had was the one that
Right.
was creating all the all the momentum,
Right.
and the whole frenzy in the watch world that I was
Right, right.
unaware of.
Right. After 30 years.
30 years of wearing it.
Watch.
And
wearing
then Paul passes in 2008, and the watch community is like, well, what happened to the Rolex? Where is
Right.
it? And then somebody found out that I had it and reached out to me and offered me $1 million for it. I'm like, I'm not selling this thing. It's so
Yeah.
personal to me, I'm keeping it. And that same person a year later, how about $2 million? Nope, not selling it. And then at one point, Nell and I have a conversation. I'm like, Nell, if your dad was here today and we told him that this watch was worth millions, what would he say? He'd say, well, you're not going to keep it. He's like, you're going to go do something cool. Because that was Paul. Paul didn't keep things. As you know, there's only a few cars that he actually called his own. And he didn't have hot cars in the garage when we visited him. He had like a Volvo with a fancy engine, but he loved to be low key. He didn't collect stuff.
Right.
So we both agreed that he would be in support of selling it. So we spent about a year. We took the watch around the world, mostly to show it to the watch collectors who have been wondering where it was, what it looked like. And these people came out of the woodwork and were just fascinated with this thing. So the cool thing is Paul, just the association made this watch iconic.
Actually, it was my mom that made it
Well,
iconic.
there you go.
With the inscription.
And that she bought the Rolex.
She
She bought the Rolex, put a leather band on it.
Had the good taste to
Not
buy a
the
Rolex.
not the metal band on
I
it.
think he put the.
Oh, he put the leather band on it. So my car, the 935, ended up flying out to New York to be displayed with the Rolex. And then we were all sort of sitting on pins and needles, like, what is this Rolex going to sell for? And I was watching it. I think when the auction went live, was that 2017? 17.
October.
And it was a crazy auction because auctions normally sort of work incrementally. If it's a Ferrari GTO and they think the car's worth $40 million, they'll start at $10 million because they're not going to start with who's got $22,000. It's going to take a while. So they'll start and they'll move in increments. And I think the person asked for an opening bid. I don't know what the opening bid is. Do you? I mean, I remember what they yelled out.
The opening bid was, well, they said $1 million.
$1 million, and someone just yelled out $10 million. And I think
which spoiled the fun because there were all these people that wanted to bid on this, and they were like right out of
guys
it.
who didn't have 10 million.
And
were
whoever
sitting next to us.
Right.
You could hear a big sigh.
And I think the person was trying to go for shock and awe, like just freak everyone out with $10 million and shut this auction down. But everyone regrouped and it continued, which was insane because it ended up hammering at 17.8.
Yeah, 17.8 million.
So you're wearing a watch that's worth more than you are.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, I was adopted. I was pretty cheap.
He's fine. Look, we talked before the show.
Yeah.
There's not a lot there.
No, it's big.
I mean, look, God bless you, but the watch, that's...
I was just a vessel
He's a vessel.
to steward the watch.
The watch. First off, I would have had 1,000 stories about taking the watch off drunk and throwing it at somebody I was angry at or something. Like, was there any close calls with the watch where you didn't find the watch or your roommate
I went swimming with it, which I wasn't supposed to do.
Swimming with the watch?
My house was broken into in California and everything was stolen except the watch.
Everything. I would love to find that thief.
It was in my sock drawer.
He'd be like, you got a VHS set?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He got like a fancy
Blu-ray. Yeah. That's interesting. And what you fence that for? $49. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me tell you what you missed.
Yeah.
That'd be the greatest story. I mean, what did they steal beside the watch?
Stereo, and I think I didn't have a TV.
Did it have an 8-track?
No, it was a little more advanced. There was a CD player.
CD! But they missed the watch.
Maybe a turntable.
And the watch was just sitting...
It was in the sock drawer.
Sock drawer where it belongs.
In the sock drawer where it belongs.
Yeah, that's where you keep watches.
You keep the watch in the sock drawer and they missed...
And this, of course, is before we knew the watch had any value to anyone other than myself. Mm-hmm. And so, it would have gone to a pawn shop somewhere and that would have been the end of it, probably.
Oh, my God. And so... 17.8, I think it hammers at. What is with the VIG? You were over 18, right?
Something like that, yeah. The whole caboodle.
And is your mind just blown? Is it just completely racing? And do we know who bought the watch?
We don't. It's still a secret. There were 2 bidders at the end, and apparently the one who won said, I want that watch at any price. And the reason it didn't go for $30 million is because the underbidder tapped out.
Yeah. So you got screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping for 30. Yeah, it's a bad deal.
Man, it's a bitch, people.
Because I didn't know when I was going to find another one.
Yeah. Could someone here just give him the Rolex just so
I've seen a few out here.
Doesn't have to leave empty-handed with this empty-wristed.
One of the guys from Phillips, I asked him, I said, who bought that? And he said, everybody was ecstatic, and he began to start to tell me, and he said, it's anonymous, we can't tell you. Came really close, though.
Which is super cool. I mean, your dad would be psyched.
Cool that he kept it to himself.
Yeah.
And some of the money went to charity, right?
Yeah.
A whole bunch. Still going.
Oh, it's still going?
Oh, yeah.
Went to the Nell Newman Foundation.
So Nell is a foundation that we run together, and that's where the funds are going, mostly for crazy environmental stuff and stuff that her dad
that money would have gone right up my nose.
Yeah.
Oh, we'd be partying hard, people. Wow, what a great story. What an incredible story. But then here's the other part. There was the second watch sold a few years later for $4 million or something.
Yeah.
What was that story? Because there was a second watch, and the person that bought the first watch may not have known about the second watch, or did know about
I
the
think
second
they did
watch?
know about the
Yeah,
second
the first watch was the Holy Grail.
Right.
The second one, less so.
So
And,
But it went for 3-something, 4.
I can't remember
it
what
would have been a good one to find.
Yeah.
But
You got to be angry that you weren't given a second Paul Newman inscribed watch.
Dad tried to give it to me
The second watch.
before he died, and I remember putting it on and I'm wearing a swatch, and because I like them, they're light and I can see it, and the Rolex was just huge.
Yeah.
So I said no.
Yeah.
Sister Clea got it.
Oh, she got the second watch. Jesus Christ.
But she's already a daughter. She doesn't need a watch, right?
What the hell with the watches? My God.
Who knew?
You're not wearing
It's not like cars.
No, my
You have other people for that.
my dad gave me a talk about herpes. That's all we had.
I see.
It's a good memory.
Okay.
I don't know what it would fetch on the open market.
I think you've
imagine a
capitalized
lot,
on
but
it a
was
little bit
good
with
talk.
So you never got in the habit of wearing a watch?
No, just using the chapstick. That's all. Now, where can we point people if they want to see your work or contribute to your funds or check you out?
You can look up the Nell Newman Foundation.
The Nell Newman Foundation.
And I know you have the book, but if anybody wants to get the copy of the book that Lizzie just did.
Oh, right. Your
Head
sister,
Over
right.
Heels, Melissa,
Yeah, it's a
and
great
music.
book. Beautiful, big and
Mom and
bound
Dad's photographs and some of their love letters, the ones that she could use that are it's absolutely amazing. And you know what's coming out? I'm going to send you. You seen Dad's vote T-shirt? It looks like you doing your entree. My dad did a poster in the late 60s, early 70s, and it's just my dad at age 35, like this, and it just said vote. So my sister Lissy, somebody gave her the poster, and so she's done T-shirts of it that say research, register, vote. And she's giving $5 from the sale of each T-shirt to a policy group that just provides education for kids in schools. So
Okay.
anyways, I'm
Yeah,
sending you one.
I'll take one.
It looks like you.
James can be found in Florida on a beach with one of those metal detectors, just walking, just looking for his next cache of Rolexes that he can hammer and laugh all the way to the bank. Nell Newman, James Cox, everybody. Put your hands together.
Thank you. You should feel one anyway. You could feel what they feel like.
The heft. The heft of the Rolex is real, my friend. The girth and the heft.
Yeah.
All right, and put your hands together for Jay. I mean, come on, Jay Leno. Woo! And the Reno Automobile Museum. Thanks, you guys, for coming out tonight. We'll say hi and hang out afterward. Thank you. Well, there you go, an action-packed show. I'm going to be in Fresno, coming up at the Tower Theater. That'll be this Friday. Come on out. Oh, I got comedy planned for you. Then Bakersfield, next night, Saturday, historic Bakersfield. Fox Theater, that's the following Saturday. So this Friday, this Saturday, Fresno, Bakersfield, Chicago. Coming up, 4 shows, April 19th and 20th. That's at the Den Theater. Salt Lake City, Wise Guys, May 3rd and 4th. Just go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. And until next time, this is Adam Carolla for Jay Leno and Brandon Tatum and Nell Newman and James Cox saying mahalo.